Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriani, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC. NPN number 2083768.
There's no shortage of fun when old friends are in town. Join us for Toyota Phillies Alumni Weekend on Friday, August 16th through Sunday, August 18th when the Phils play the Nats. Order tickets now at phillies.com. When the sun goes down, we turn the lights up. Fridays at the Bank continue on August 16th at 6:40 when the Phils face the Nats. Join the party and secure your seats at phillies.com.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we are offering to qualified buyers a maximum discount of $13,176. This offer is good on all 2024 XC90s in stock. $13,176. Plus, the Cherry Hill Volvo 2024 model year sell down. Pricing and attention to detail here is not to be missed. Volvo should be on your shopping list now. This is the time to purchase from Cherry Hill Volvo.
Wow, honey, have you seen the electric bill?
Yeah, it's out of control. But have you heard of Navien tankless water heaters?
Tankless? How does that even work?
Well, instead of constantly heating and storing water, it only heats water when we need it. So much more efficient than our giant tank heater.
That sounds great. Let's look into Navien.
Already on it.
Imagine all the hot water you need only when you need it. Bulky tanks are history. Navien high-efficiency tankless is the future. Compact, wall-hung units free up floor space, lower energy bills, longer life than tanks, and a 15-year warranty. Find out more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
It's one of the greatest catchphrases in the English language. Mostly peaceful protest.
Oh, yeah.
We only murdered 10. We only did $1 billion in damage. Come on, that's mostly peaceful. Here's NPR talking about the mob that broke out yesterday. And boy, would I like to get on and salute that brave American in the middle of this mob who snatched up Old Glory, the flag, and ran it out of there. Or, you know what I was thinking? I'd like to have 500 of those frat boys who saved the flag marching in there with them. What would the police have done? We don't see anything. Here's how it sounded.
Protesters staged a rally and marched for blocks around the U.S. Capitol.
Yeah?
Banners and T-shirts said, "Stop arming Israel."
Yes.
By a main stage, there were rows of coffins draped in the Palestinian flag. Amar Wafsi came down from Delaware.
My background is that of a mother whose Jewish parents escaped Nazi Austria and a Muslim father from Iraq. My blood is on both sides of this.
He says the word genocide has become almost a cliche, but it's what he sees as tens of thousands of Palestinians have been killed in Gaza since the brutal Hamas attack on Israelis last October. Israel says it's trying to eliminate Hamas and free hostages. Wafsi wanted to be here to show solidarity with Palestinians.
I'm a father now, and when I see these dead children who look so much like my own daughter, you know, whether I'm around people or by myself, I can't even look at it without crying.
Arusa Khan came from Maryland and says inviting Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu to speak before Congress sends the wrong message. She's not happy that her hard-earned U.S. tax dollars are funding military aid for Israel, and she's not happy with President Biden.
I think Biden could have done more. He should have done more. He was an accomplice, a silent accomplice to the whole thing.
There was also a notable number of Jewish protesters, including the people in this small band. Posters with Netanyahu's photo said in Hebrew, "He's guilty." One Jewish group gathered for a morning prayer to call for an end to the war and the release of all hostages. 18-year-old Eliyahu is an
Dan,
Orthodox
I think I'm going to have to summarize it myself. I can't take it anymore,
it's
so maybe
horrible.
listeners can't.
Oh
the bottom line is they went on to say mostly peaceful protest. with the stealing of American flags, the burning. So we've seen a lot after January 6th of those Democrats walking over the broken glass. Remember that? The next day, Andy Kim made his mark, sweeping up glass. Yesterday, about 15 of the Freedom Caucus, led by Mike Johnson, the Speaker, recited the national anthem in honor at the spot where the flags were burnt. So this was mostly peaceful yesterday. This is exactly what they're about. This is exactly what the Harris support is about. So VP Harris today, speaking at the AFT, the American Federation of Teachers, the second biggest union, prattled on about Project 25 and talked about how important not only public education is, but unions like the AFT, the Pringle Woman, the NEA. No word, though, on these very same unions, these teachers' unions, these radicals. Remember them in Philadelphia? All the things. This group today.
Gold star, Dov.
Yeah, the AFT. Look, Randi Weingarten is more of a power player, I believe, than the end, even though she has a smaller union.
All the things.
Well, there's that, though. She's gaining. That she was able to corral the CDC when they were going to dismiss the idea of kids staying out of school. She had not a word today about setting a goal to make up for all that learning loss, setting a goal to drop down the absentee rate, which is astronomical across the public schools.
We must do this work.
Setting any kind of goal. No, none of that. This is exactly her type of crowd. And these teachers, at least the ones, and look, we have teachers listening today. They're out of school. I'd love to hear from them. Why do we despise these teachers' unions? What are the top 10 reasons? I've given you some of them already. Despise them. One, the PSEA, this is a nugget you're not going to hear too many places.
We will do this work.
This just came down today. The Freedom Foundation is suing the PSEA, Pennsylvania State Education Association, Pennsylvania teachers, accusing them of laundering $1.5 million in members' dues to bankroll Josh Shapiro's 2022 candidacy. He needed $1.5 million from these teachers to beat up on Doug Mastriano. My God.
Our colleagues are depending on us.
So, come on, Pringle. You got a long way to go to beat the...
Is Pringle a married name or a birth name?
I think it's her birth name.
Because if you marry into the Pringle family,
the Pringle
do you take the
family
name?
Yeah, I think you might make a change.
Maybe keep the maiden name.
So, one of the reasons they get away with this is that because of the media, they control the history of things. We have not had a reckoning on COVID. We've not had a reckoning on the damage they've done. And my mind's on that. I was telling Dan before the show, we may have them on in the near future. Remember the gym owners, the Attilis Gym over in Belmar? Remember we had them on 6 weeks, 2 months ago? And we were talking with them because they won in court and they were freed up from all those attacks by Phil Murphy. Remember how much stuff they were under? Judges ruled, get out of here. Well, guess what? The town of Belmar didn't care. They had taken away their business license. And yesterday, a judge ruled in New Jersey again, Camden County Superior Court judge, dismissed their lawsuit seeking to reinstate their municipal business license. Now, wait a minute. They've just been freed up of all this nonsense from COVID, yet this guy says that Belmar can still take away their business license and keep it away because they were defiant. Can you imagine? Remember, liquor stores were open. They couldn't be open, health and physical fitness. So the judge ruled that Belmar Borough Council's decision to revoke the gym's mercantile license was not unreasonable, as it was based on the gym's failure to comply with public safety orders. So they've been freed in court, yet the system never stops, does it? And COVID was one of their shining moments for what they've gotten away with. But seeing Harris with the teachers union today, reminds me of what is the mechanism, and I'm not sure. I can't tell you. We have Michael Watley, the head of the RNC, coming on. I'll ask him a bit about this.
I do have some of Harris.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful to be back with everyone here. Thank you. That means so much more than I can say. Randy, thank you for your friendship, your long-standing friendship. As we all know, Randy is a force, and she has been an incredible friend and an advisor to the president and me. And I want to thank
there we
you
go.
on
Yes.
behalf of the president and me and our country for all that you are.
Let's see. Keep the kids out of
The
school.
things.
And I still haven't gotten over Governor Tom Wolf and the Good Afternoon Woman, and then the 3 Montgomery County, Bucks County commissioners keeping kids out of school with Dr. Damsker. Where is Dr. Damsker? Can the FBI Most Wanted help us find him? What basement are they holding him in over there in Bucks County? So this is the type of stuff. So what is the mechanism? And I'm not sure if Republicans were ready for this. I know they had their heart set on running against Biden, and I get that. Dan, you probably don't have living memory. Maybe you've seen the footage, though. It was one of the hottest things and the best ads in a political sense, top 5 in history. It won George W. Bush, Herbert Walker Bush Sr., the Bush Sr., came down out of the Democrat convention, after the Democrat convention, running against Michael Dukakis. He was down by 17 points in polling. He ended up winning by 8 points. What did he do to Dukakis? And I had Dukakis on once. He didn't answer about this fully. The Willie Horton Act. Does that ring a bell with you?
Yeah.
Vaguely. Okay.
Yeah.
Willie Horton was I'm not sure of the original charge, but he was in jail for a long time. I'm not sure if it couldn't have been murder. God knows with Dukakis in Massachusetts. But they had a weekend furlough program where they would go off on the weekend, allegedly do some work or whatever. Willie Horton murdered a married couple, on one of those furloughs. Now, he happened to be African-American, and the Bush people showed that again and again and again, and they were right to do it because it struck at the heart of what Dukakis and liberalism at that point, progressivism, was all about. Well, with Kamala Harris, she had a program that picked illegal migrants violating the law for a jobs program, one of whom brutally attacked not one, but at least 2 women in San Francisco when she was DA. So an angle of attack, I think, with Harris is going to be putting together that footage and reminding America about how radical this woman is. Now, it's not as much as Willie Horton. Nothing probably is going to come up to that level. And I mention it's a caution to Republicans. Brian Kilmeade, who's one of the nicest, best guys in broadcasting, just tremendous. We had some fun yesterday. We really slowed it down. Said that Harris, rather than being there with Netanyahu, by the way, that was one of the all-time humorous, uplifting speeches. It was incredible. And the Dean of Decency said she couldn't show up. She told Jim Acosta about not showing up, Dan. I think we have that one, right? The
Yeah,
Dean?
we have that.
Here's the Dean of Decency. What the hell is wrong with Montgomery County? Because she is thumbing her nose up at you, and the Houlihan is, too, out in Chester County. They are saying they can boycott somebody this important, so much of an ally, because their district wants them not to be there with Netanyahu.
Can I play the best part from Netanyahu's speech?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course. Go ahead. Yeah.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Some of these protesters hold up signs proclaiming gays for Gaza. They might as well hold up signs saying chickens for KFC.
He was so on the cusp
line.
of wanting to say it, I didn't think he was going to get it out. He's been practicing that for weeks. Did I tell you? I got that line. Watch for that line. I'm sitting on that line. Dan, I know that feeling. I had it several times over a career. But when Joe Sestak said with me at Cheney State that they had already gotten the license for a woman he was complaining about with voter ID, I'm sitting there. I'm twitching, ready.
Waiting for it.
Oh, man, I'm
Waiting for the
waiting.
moment.
I'm sweating. Please, come on, Jill. Come on, say it quicker. All right, so here is the Dean of Decency telling Jim Acosta about why she couldn't.
You don't want Sestak?
No, it's okay. Why she couldn't be there with Netanyahu.
Today is a consequential day here in Washington, D.C., and so I want you to know, I want my constituents to know, I've spent the last few days, as I have actually the last few months, deciding whether or not to attend. I will not be attending the address today. I've spoken with hostage families who have been here, as you know, all week. I spoke with the 8 American Israeli hostage families, wanting just to get their family members home, sadly living and deceased. They had hoped that Mr. Netanyahu would be here in attendance to simply say he has brokered the deal to get the hostages home, to end the suffering. But sadly, we don't see that happening. I also have met with Palestinian and members of CARE.
Let's stop it right there. The Council on American Foreign Relations, okay? CARE. All right. Now, they should be declared on the borderline, at least, of being a terrorist group. How much trouble have we had over the years? That's who she meets with, the Dean of Decency. What the hell has happened to the suburbs? In the past, if you did this, and Houlihan, too, Chester County is not as fertile for this. There's a shrug. We're Democrats. We're progressives. We don't care. We're glad. He's a killer, Netanyahu. You don't have to be there in Congress for them. We're glad that you're doing this. She continues.
American relations. They are baffled by Mr. Netanyahu's attendance today. How could he, in the face of the inhumanity that is going on in Gaza and in the West Bank, how could he be here in this politically fraught moment? His attendance is the one that should be questioned.
There you go, right? The old school marm there. So it's a broader thing than Houlihan here. I think Mary Gay Scanlon, at least I couldn't find that she objected. What has happened in the suburbs?
I know she was there asking questions. She made a big grandstand.
Oh, did she?
Remember we said she reminded us of Holly from the office?
Yeah. That the bottom line is they believe, and in the suburbs, that they're there for life now, that Montgomery County is just little Philadelphia or worse, and they can get away with this stuff. That's what they're playing toward. They don't have to suffer taking these kinds of positions. So can Republicans actually show? I was making a point about Brian Kilmeade, too. Savage yesterday, he clearly said, going off to a college sorority speech.
Oh, you want to hear it again?
Yes. I was telling someone this morning about this. I did think it was a bit of genius in your slow motion of this. A bit. Here's how it sounded.
Oh, here's the original, Dom.
Yeah, here's the original.
The most recent decision, already you got a question. She will not show up for the Prime Minister's joint session of Congress today. She'd rather address in the summer a sorority, a college sorority. Like she can't get out of that.
It's definitely college and not colored, right?
Yeah.
All right, so
he
here's
was a little
slowed.
bit, he got a little conflict in the throat, and that's why.
A sorority, a college sorority.
Let's hear the super slow.
A college sorority.
Maybe that's how Kilmeade should have come out. Then we should have sent that to him. Brian, come on today. Have them play this out.
We slowed it down, Brian.
Right,
it's very
syllable
slow.
by syllable, yeah. Do you know there were still people yesterday, the guy that writes for Politico, Claire McCaskill and others, they were still saying, no, I hear colored there. I don't care what he says.
Do I really have to slow it down even more?
Yeah, let's hear it even slower, what he says. All right, Claire McCaskill, is that enough for you? The point being, and he made this point in his defense, that Republicans are going to have to be careful. There's nothing wrong with care. These have to be thought out when you're going after Harris. I know it's a shame it's that way, but that's what you're going to face. But there's ample stuff there to go after her with. By the way, one of the most, as predicted, Biden did not resign yesterday, Dan, or even on the pizza bet.
Dang it.
There you go.
Frank, you hear that? I'm not getting that pepperoni pizza.
Unless I thought your conspiracy friends, some were saying he looked awfully tall. Could it be an imitator? They have Biden hostage somewhere.
There are.
Oh, God, I know.
Okay, there are images and videos out there where it does look like he might be wearing a mask.
There's the mask. And he's taller now.
And watch the forehead wrinkles, Dom. Forehead wrinkles are very unrealistic.
I'll be watching that. All right. Is he in the White House even?
Keep all options open, Dom. That's all I'm saying.
Do they have him somewhere? Okay. Let me give you the side question today. And, boy, we were flooded behind the scenes with a great side question for tomorrow. We got them stacked up here on the runway. But for today, I don't think this was apropos of any date or anything. We're looking for an invention that's here now, or maybe it's on the cusp, not 10 years from now, but, sort of you hear about it a little bit, that should indicate to you we are truly living in the future. It's like we're in a time machine, and not quite the Jetsons, but we're not back in the 60s either. I mean, it's very close to the future. So I'm going to take off the board one of the things that I hope is stopped. It seems to be that...
I know what it's going to be. I think it might be mine, too. Go ahead.
The self-driving car.
Well, which one? Get more specific with the self-driving car.
Self-driving
shuttles, Dom.
Oh, self-driving shuttles.
Like the one down in the Navy Yard.
That Navy Yard shuttle. I'm just waiting any day when it gets off campus to see what happens. And I'm going to take ghost guns off.
Yep.
It's amazing to me. I still don't understand the mechanism there, how you can produce a gun through that mechanism. It's mind-boggling to me.
So I'm fascinated every time I wake up at 3:30 in the morning and I hear little Kevin wandering around my house. Kevin is the googly-eyed monster that we've named our robot vacuum.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, to think that there's just a robot that works in our house to clean our floors.
And you have it not turned off then? You have it all day long?
No, we have it automated so it goes off in the middle of the night, which makes Callie go crazy, so we got to change that.
Yeah. That's an interesting... What, did you get that from Breaking Bad? Jesse's lying there, and he just has the popcorn being picked up.
That's pretty much what it is. Yeah, that's my life.
Okay.
Yeah. Passed out on the ground, and just Kevin's around me, And then also, Dom, I was informed today by Henry that they actually have the same thing, but for your lawn. They have driverless mowers, robot lawn mowers, so you don't have to... How fantastic is that?
Well, I will tell you what I want. It's not the lawn mower. I'm willing to mow the lawn. You know what the gripe is with Roe. Fanatic on what? Edging.
Oh, yeah.
The edging. What is it with the edging? And down the shore, we're headed down there next week. The blocks in North Wildwood where we are, they're all fanatically edged. I mean, the edging is just... If one day the edging's off, they bring teams out there to re-edge it. Yeah.
It's nuts. Can I do one more?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sign of the future that we're living in? I think it's Sam's Club or one of the big box stores. When you go in now, essentially they have like contactless payment where you only have to wait in line or do self-service. You just scan on your phone and walk out the front door.
Wow.
It's pretty fascinating to see how the world of retail is going to change over time.
All right, so it's 855-839-1210. That's the side question. We're going to talk with Dave McCormick around 12:35-ish about the fact he was there when President Trump was shot, but he's got a new ad out that's gone viral. It links Bob Casey Jr., who supports Kamala Harris, who is dead set 100% against fracking. Can you win in Pennsylvania if you're in the camp that's against fracking? I'd say it's pretty difficult. And we'll talk to the head of the RNC. What's their campaign against Harris going to look like? And I'll give some advice. You probably have some too. 855-839-1210.
Hi, it's Nick Kale. The first Wednesday of the month, we shine a spotlight on one outstanding local veteran on our Veteran Spotlight in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation, celebrating their remarkable commitment to community service and their exceptional service in the military. Wednesday, August 7th, we honor Air Force veteran Kathy Christian for her service and contributions to the veteran community. Presented by Window Nation. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com.
Living with Lyme, a condition that you may have and not even know it. John DeMasi here, host of Health Watch, Sundays at 8 and again at 4 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Yes, you may be living with Lyme, even if you've had some kind of treatment. Dr. Molly Fantasia and the healthcare team at Innovative Medical Associates have dealt with this condition and have helped hundreds over the years live successfully with Lyme, mainly through the use of medical hydration. They've been able to reduce many of the symptoms associated with Lyme and allow their patients a better quality of life.
I want to get you through your initial challenge, working alongside with my physicians, and then get you to a place where we are looking at maintaining your immune system, maintaining your quality of life.
If you suspect you or someone you know has Lyme disease, visit innovativemedicalassociates.com on the web to schedule a free initial consultation or call 856-489-0505.
Window Nation presents the 1210 WPHT Veteran Spotlight in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation. Listen the first Wednesday of every month as Kale and Company shines a spotlight on a local veteran, highlighting their remarkable commitment to the community and their exceptional service in the military. Presented by Window Nation. At Window Nation, there's nothing more important than giving back to the communities we serve. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
I'm John Morgan. When people stop me to ask, what's my case worth, here's what I tell them. All law firms are not the same at all. You see, the most important part of anyone's injury case is the firm you hire. The insurance company knows exactly which firms fight for full value and which firms will settle your case for pennies on the dollar. Our firm has recovered billions, $3 billion last year alone. There's only one Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you. Morgan & Morgan, official partner of the Philadelphia 76.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
That gasoline out of Richboro, Bucks County Wawa is causing car issues for dozens of drivers that filled up there. President Biden frames his decision to end his re-election campaign as part of a fight to defend democracy. And soon you'll no longer be able to pick your own seat when you buy your ticket on Southwest Airlines.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Don't let woke win. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
All right, Dom Giordano Show. Welcome in, 855-839-1210. Side question today. There's a million of them, but something that makes you believe you're futuristic, some invention, something going on, makes you feel we're actually living in the future. And the big story continues to be today, how do you deal with Kamala Harris? Well, you remain calm. There's a period of giddiness here. It's true. There's a lot of excitement. That's not false on the surface. But will that hold up once we start seeing her record, once we start seeing that taken apart? I told you that if you can imagine, Dukakis had a 17-point lead over Bush after the Democrat convention. The Willie Horton ads, Dukakis in the tank. Have you ever seen that, Dan? Dukakis in the tank? With the goofy hat on, the whole thing and all driving around, and it popped up in the tank.
Is it the revolving ad? No.
Yeah, it's those two. They really, Lee Atwater was the genius behind the Herbert Walker Bush campaign. They just...
Mike Dukakis and Willie Horton changed our lives forever. He was serving a life term without the possibility of a parole when Governor Dukakis gave him a few days off. Horton broke into our home. For 12 hours, I was beaten, slashed, and terrorized. My wife, Angie, was brutally raped. When his liberal experiment failed, Dukakis simply looked away. He also vetoed the death penalty bill. Regardless of the election, we worry that people don't know enough about Mike Dukakis.
Yeah, now, I don't know that Harris has anything quite like that, but there are Willie Horton-esque moments out there, of course. That's how you rise on the left, in addition to other things she's done. And I think Republicans, sooner rather than later, should be putting them up. Now, I'm going to ask Michael Watley, RNC chair, when he's here at 1, about this. But great reporting today. What we're seeing in media bias, and I'll give you 2 examples. It's not just usual media bias. This is kind of Orwellian, Soviet style. Axios and GovTrack retroactively changed their reporting. Axios had headlines when she was named border czar, and we have a montage of it we'll play in a second, that indicated that. Now they're indicating, well, that was off. They were wrong then. Nobody was telling them that you got to change that. They decided to do that. How were they wrong then? They were exactly right reporting that. And GovTrack got rid of the fact that she was voted more liberal than any U.S. senator by a vast panel of people, more liberal than Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren. Why did they excise that? Now, that's Soviet stuff. Media bias is trying to round the edges, or maybe even a little bit more than the edges, skew something for an audience. This is just, it goes down the memory hole. Read 1984.
Memory hole it, Dom.
Doesn't exist.
Yep. No longer exists.
What are you talking about, Dom Giordano?
Scrub
it didn't exist. Who was that guy? Come
Bleach
on
bit.
now. He had good hair. He had no hair. He was bald, I tell you. All right. Here is...
That guy Dom had a great beard.
Here is a little montage of people calling her the border czar.
So I want to explain this real quick because the way it's put together is very confusing for the listener. It goes back and forth. So it's current versus old, current, old, just how things, and it's almost like a game of ping pong.
Vice President Harris was not a border czar.
Meantime, Vice President and border czar Kamala Harris facing some backlash.
What he said about Harris and immigration was not true. She was never appointed border czar.
And this will be her first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border region since she was appointed as the border czar by President Biden.
People are going to have to counter the misinformation. You already hear folks talking about the border czar. She wasn't the border czar.
President Biden tapped Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, to be the border czar.
Now, she wasn't the border czar. That's what Republicans labeled her.
They were very critical of Kamala Harris, especially in her role as border czar.
Now what she's up against is folks lying about her border record, calling her a border czar.
Kamala Harris, who was appointed as the border czar.
The Biden team didn't declare her the border czar. They wanted her to work on kind of the root causes of immigration.
There has been so much criticism against Kamala Harris. You know, she was the border czar.
Calling her sort of the border czar, which wasn't necessarily the case.
So the border, if they weren't planning to address it in a major way, do not make her your border czar. She met with some of the Northern Triangle countries, but nothing has effectively changed.
Yeah, and she's in Texas again today and refusing to answer. Why not make a trip south of the border? It's right there.
Remember how long it took her to get down to the border? And she was like, yeah, I'll make it down eventually.
Yeah, so you're right, Dan. Thanks for that. That was mainstream media today now trying to cover up, airbrush. Nope, didn't happen. Spinning. And that's mainstream media when it was announced. Those were not all Fox News or anything like that. They were saying in her role as border czar. They thought it was good. She was given a big role. She's the border czar. Czarina, if you will. That's exactly what it is. I mean, this is fundamental. It's one thing, like Axios. No one was pushing them to change their reporting, and they put the same reporter on it to say, well, essentially, we were in error then when we called her the border czar. No, that was officially out there. It was used routinely. She was in charge. This was the big deal of trying to do something about all of this. And now that we've seen what's happened and didn't happen, of course, they don't want that. But the point is, if
I got a montage of her struggling to answer if she's been to the border.
Oh, okay, yes.
We've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
Listen, I've been to the border before. I will go again. But when I'm in Guatemala, dealing with root causes, I think we should have a conversation about what's going on in Guatemala.
So, can you commit right now that you will indeed visit the U.S.-Mexico border, and will you do it soon?
Jeremy, let me tell you something. Yes, I will, and I have before.
I've said I'm going to go to the border. And when are you going to the border, Vice President?
The administration has asked. I'm not finished. I've said I'm going to the border.
She does this tick too, Dan. You'll notice it more and more when, other than the usual stuff like with Lester Holt, who really took her apart. We should have a conversation about that. That's her way of saying, I'm a radical, but I don't want to say, get the police the hell out of here. We ought to have a conversation about that, Dan. That's her mechanism of straddling this and signaling progressives. Yeah, of course.
We've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
Lester Holt just frozen, looking straight ahead. Oh, yeah, you think you're getting off on that? It's going to be worse here. Thank God you don't have a half hour with me by the time we get to that. I haven't been to Europe. Did that just pass through her head, or was that the line they had set up to deal with?
It's like a line she took from Howard Stern. I haven't been to Cabo.
Yeah. That's Tom Giordano. Yeah, 855-839-1210. But the thing to point out here, it's not just media bias. That happens all the time. This, in many instances, is a level of what they do in the Soviet Union. That's not an exaggeration. They are excising. They're going back and saying they were wrong to say she was the border czar when no one is challenging that, is unchallengeable that she was the border czar. Well, silly titles and all that. Well, then why use it? Why give her this?
You want to
why go need that?
Can you play a side-by-side comparison real quick?
Yes.
All right, here you go.
We've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
I've been to Cabo. Does that make any
You've watched Narcos.
Right. I mean, that's the most absurd thing I ever heard. This guy's a dummy.
Oh, God. He's been to Cabo. He hasn't been out of the Hamptons in 5 years, it seems like to me. All right, 855-839-1210. We will check in with Dave McCormick, who's making a good bit of news because this ad he put out, he was there right behind the president when the president was shot, even if the FBI director thinks, oh, maybe he was hit with shrapnel. I'll tell you that there were 4 times more officers on that day, Secret Service, stationed officers assigned to Dr. Jill Biden, 12 additional, and only 3 additional with Trump. Who makes a decision like that? Why do that? Is that an indicator they weren't going to protect Trump to the level that they should have? Yeah, it is an indicator of that. All right, 855-839-1210. You get in with Dom and Dan.
And I haven't been to Europe.
Don't count on summer heat to melt away those extra pounds. That doesn't work. But here's something that does work, and that's NJ Diet. For over a decade, NJ Diet has helped thousands of people lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days. That's nearly twice as fast as weight loss injections and without any of those nasty side effects. NJ Diet uses your hair, saliva, and blood work, along with scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements to get you to shed that fat quickly. Then NJ Diet uses your DNA info to help you keep the weight off. No shots, no prepackaged meals, and no surgery. NJ Diet is fully supervised every step of the way to make sure you are burning fat and not just losing water. You even get the doctor's personal email and phone number. Locations close by are available from anywhere with live online video consultations. Call 855-5NJ-DIET or schedule your consult today at njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com. Lose the weight for good.
Today we're constantly taking photos and videos to remember our favorite moments. But what about those captured before the smartphone? What about the memories tucked away on aging VHS tapes, film reels, or in fading photos?
These cherished memories are fading away with time, vulnerable to threats like heat, moisture, and mold. But fear not, there's a solution to safeguard your legacy. Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Nick. Together we founded Legacy Box over a decade ago with one mission, to bring your memories into the 21st century.
It's time to bid farewell to old tapes you can't watch and faded photos. Legacy Box transforms them into digital treasures, ready to share with a click.
Just like magic, your shoebox of memories is now safely stored in the cloud or on a thumb drive.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box, so you can rest assured your priceless moments are in good hands.
Don't let your childhood fade away on old tapes. It's time to digitize those priceless moments.
Fast forward into the digital age. Visit legacybox.com/value and unlock 50% off your order. That's legacybox.com/value.
Hi, Stephanie from Emmons. Are you not loving your bathroom? Is the King's Throne looking a little outdated and run down? Let Emmons Design Specialists design a bathroom that you will love and one that Emmons will redo in as little as 1 day. An affordable, maintenance-free bathroom with little to no inconvenience to you and your family. With finance options available, there's really only one problem. Your bathroom will be so nice, your king may never want to come out. Call Emmons today at 856-885-6677 or visit us on our website at callemmons.com.
At Cherry Volvo, we are offering to qualified buyers a maximum discount of $13,176. This offer is good on all 2024 XC90s in stock. $13,176. Plus, the Cherry Hill Volvo 2024 model year sell down. Pricing and attention to detail here is not to be missed. Volvo should be on your shopping list now. This is the time to purchase from Cherry Hill Volvo.
By scheduling an appointment to begin your educational process with Crash Proof Retirement, you'll see real statements from Crash Proof Retirement clients documenting how the exclusive Crash Proof Retirement system credits double-digit interest returns, even during the worst of recent stock market downturns.
Rob Lukens, Birdsboro, Pennsylvania. During COVID, when everything was going down in the stock market, we saw our investment with Crash Proof grow 15%, which was unheard of. Markets weren't growing that way. The interest we made through Crash Proof's investments, we keep it. We don't lose anything. We keep every penny that we invested. The worst that's going to happen is you keep your money. Crash Proof gives me great peace of mind. And I would recommend anybody who sees this or hears this to give Crash Proof a call. Pick the phone up, call. It's simple.
Schedule an appointment to begin your Crash Proof Retirement education. Call us at 1-800-722-9728 or visit crashproofretirement.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com. Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Harry, if you watch any more of those stupid financial shows, I'm filing for divorce.
How am I going to keep up with our retirement accounts?
At JML Financial Group, we want you watching your grandkids playing soccer and sunsets in Hawaii, not the latest rumor of a market crash. Surprisingly, with proper income planning, the stock market shouldn't even be a concern. The money came in every 2 weeks while you worked. It should be the same in your retirement years. Let us show you how. Call JML Financial Group today at 856-925-6674. That's 856-925-6674. Or at jmlfinancialgroup.com. So, when your neighbor's sunbathing in the front yard,
Harry, you're an idiot. Get away from the window.
keep your eyes focused where they should be, on enjoying your retirement. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, live from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter.
All right, it is Dom time. Dave McCormick, running for the Senate against Bob Casey Jr., will be here. He's got a viral ad up we're going to play for you that ties Casey to Kamala Harris, and it brings in the fact that Harris is definitively anti-fracking, no fracking. Do you know what that means for America and what it means for western and some central parts of Pennsylvania? We're sitting on a, ocean of natural gas, just like Saudi Arabia sits on oil. Here's the ad.
Is inspiring and very capable. The more people get to know her, they're going to be particularly impressed by her ability.
That nonpartisan GovTrack has rated you as the most liberal senator.
I am prepared to get rid of the filibuster to pass a Green New Deal. There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
Would you ban offshore drilling?
Yes.
What is the solution for voters in the fossil fuel industry?
Giving the workers an ability to transition. We're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals. That's correct.
Raise your hand if you think it should be a civil offense rather than a crime to cross the border without documentation.
Abolish ICE. Yeah. Is that a position you agree with?
And we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
Outdated, it is wrong-headed thinking to think that the only way you're going to get communities to be safe is to put more police officers on the street.
Would you support changing the dietary guidelines? Yes. The food pyramid. What people yes. To reduce red meat specifically. Yes.
People who are convicted in prison, like the Boston Marathon bomber, on death row, people who are convicted of sexual assault, they should be able to vote?
I think we should have that conversation. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program.
So for people out there who like their insurance, they don't get to keep it?
Let's eliminate all of that. Let's move on. I am opposed to any policy that would deny any human being public health, period.
The more people get to know her, they're going to be particularly impressed by her ability.
And the voice of the Undertaker in the background there, Bob Casey Jr. You know, when she said that about getting rid of your own personal health insurance, remember the fight over Obamacare? I made the comment, some of you did too. We know the Second Amendment, constitutional. But it came up often. You're not taking away my personal health care. We are going to fight you every inch on that. And yet, that is exactly what she wants to do. Let's go to a candidate for the Senate against the effervescent Bob Casey Jr. in that ad. Come on, guys. You can't have him stand there like it's the Undertaker at the wake every ad, can you? Well, that's what he does. Let's go to Dave McCormick. Come on, Dave. You got to show the effervescent Bob Casey. That's not fair.
Yeah, how are you, Dom?
Good.
It's good to be with you. How's everything?
Very good. So, yes.
What a crazy time, right?
Yeah. So that ad that you're running has gone viral, and it's a twofer in Pennsylvania with Harris. But certainly, Bob Casey is wedded to her. There's no getting around it. I guess the magic of it is fracking.
I'm so proud of the ad because it was my team put it together. They get all the credit, but it just went absolutely viral, and it's the kind of politics that I want to represent, which is to say, I don't say a single thing in that ad. That ad has Bob Casey saying you're going to love her, and then in her own words, it lays out an agenda to ban fracking, to reduce consumption of red meat, to go to a single-payer system, to decriminalize illegal immigration, to defund the police, in her own words. This is what the Democratic Party is running at the top of the ticket. Supported Harris by 90. To be a rubber stamp vote for these liberal policies. And so it is right there for Pennsylvanians to see. That is the weakness of Bob Casey, the 98% with this most liberal nominee in the history of American politics. I think that's a objective measure. And so I love it because it creates a stark choice for Pennsylvanians, and that's what I'm trying to do in this election. Make sure they understand the stakes and the choice they're making between leadership and change versus status quo and weakness under Bob Casey.
Absolutely. Now, Dave McCormick with it. Dave, you were there when we have a chance to catch up with you. So I want to go back to that. We've talked to Sean Parnell, and we've seen the Secret Service chief resign. But you were right there. You could have been shot. I don't know if your wife was there with you. The inability of the FBI or refusal to answer questions that are basic to get to the bottom of this. So coming through that, you're actually someone at risk there. What do you say?
Yeah. Well, by any measure, it was a catastrophic failure. The fact that somebody could get with a high-powered rifle within 130 yards of the president and take 8 shots is just a catastrophic failure. So we have to accept that. There's no rationalizing. We have to get to the bottom of how that could have happened. And I promise you, Dom, if I was the senator right now from Pennsylvania and this had happened to the Democratic nominee, I would have been calling for an investigation. I would have been jumping on my desk. This is not a political point. We were an inch away from losing the former president, and we were an inch away from our country going over the cliff. And so I can't understand why this isn't like a 9/11 kind of thing, where you basically have bipartisan support for getting to the bottom of this thing, because it would have been catastrophic. And personally, I feel like I lived through a moment in history where, as Sean probably told you, we were right in the front row and we saw the president get clipped. I think we both get shot. We both knew, I think immediately, it was rifle shots from our time in the military. But what was amazing was the Secret Service jumped on President Trump, and then, you see them standing up and sort of a phalanx around him, and you see this fist pop out, and defiant, reassuring, strong leadership. And I think Sean and I would both agree that if we had 100 people get shot behind that podium, 99 would have stayed on the ground. And it's a rare person that would have the courage and the presence of mind to stand up and reassure the crowd as he did. So it was a remarkable moment in that respect, and a terrible, horrible moment in that behind us, Corey Compertor was killed 25 feet behind us. And so on the front of us, President Trump was shot, and behind us, we had a horrible loss of a hero. So it was a sad day.
But Dave, what do you make of it, though? What's your, you were actually there, you see the footage and all this. they haven't shut down conspiracies yet. I usually are battling that with some people because of how massive that would have to be. But it seems as if they didn't go all out. Now, maybe this is just the bureaucracy. They gave more Secret Service agents to Jill Biden. Now, she is the first lady and all that. But Trump has the bigger threat level. Don't these people know that the threat level is what should be determining this, not some kind of arcane definition?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the common sense has to prevail here. And whatever the reasoning was, I'd like to believe it wasn't political, but who knows what was behind this. Whatever the reasoning was, to have the Secret Service capacity be so limited that they couldn't actually cover a rooftop 130 yards away is the definition of madness. And I'm not a conspiracy person either, but the idea that a 20-year-old kid could fly a drone, case the joint with a rangefinder, climb up on top of that roof and take 8 shots at the former president, all of that seems hard to imagine. That they could have navigated all those different, a single person could have. So I think it's very important that we have a really rigorous review of what occurred here and make sure it never happens again, because we were an inch away from, as I said, a national catastrophe.
We had on Dave McCormick with us, the former head of the Capitol Police, who's become a friend of the show. He was there on January 6th. And he agreed with me, Dave, as somebody who's not in that role or some of the roles you've been in. You can't have somebody saying, we have 60 days to submit a report. That's not a law. We need to have a change in that with the bureaucracy to say, he talked about a hot wash report, at least the basics within a day. But they seem to get away with saying 60 days all the time.
No, and it absolutely is the complete absence of accountability. I mean, I had the same experience as the chief. I mean, you conduct a mission in the 82nd Airborne Division. You had the after-action review that day.
Yeah.
And you came back. It was fresh in everybody's mind. What happened? All the key players around the table, and you got to the bottom of things. And that's what accountability is. And the problem with this prolonged kind of thing that we're talking about here is that it gives people time to sort of figure out how they want to manage in quotation marks, the report, the story, the accountability. No, this is very straightforward. It was an epic failure. She should have been fired immediately, and we got to get to the bottom of what happened so it never happens again.
Exactly. Well, great ad. I hope everybody picks up on it because it highlights Casey. But, Dave, how can you encapsulate? I have not ever gotten out there to where there's massive fracking. All I know is I had a Democrat on who was complaining, went nuts, a state senator, his name might come to me, because it was so prosperous. He said, you can't get a seat in a restaurant, you can't buy a car anymore, and there's too much venereal disease. This is the stuff he said. It must be still so prominent in many economies in the state.
Oh, you're speaking of fracking now?
Yeah.
No, it's incredible. No, we're the 4th largest natural gas reserves in the world. If we were a country, we'd be the 4th biggest country. And to put this in perspective, underneath our feet right now, we have enough natural gas to equal the annual output production of oil from Saudi Arabia, which is 10 million barrels a day. We have incredible reserves here, and they are a clean source of energy. They're should be exported around the world to replace coal-fired plants in India and China. They're great paying jobs. And Bob Casey and Kamala Harris are absolutely the wrong kind of thing that we need, because they're going to ban fracking and make it much more difficult. If you're going to do one thing to change the outlook of Pennsylvania's economic future, it would be to unlock our natural gas industry. And it will be great for the entire state. And we also need, in my opinion, an offshore export facility in the southeast part of the state, which would also be fantastic. Right. It's a great source of energy for big data. It is the key. And Bob Casey and Kamala Harris are on absolutely the wrong side of this thing. And if they're allowed to do what they're saying, it's going to destroy Pennsylvania's economy. So it couldn't be more important. It's the single most important thing we could do for our economy. And it's great jobs for everybody. I remember when the fracking boom hit, in my hometown, people started showing up with new pickup trucks, and I said, something's going on here.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is good for, and it's good for farmers, of course, because many of them have drilling that takes place on their property, so they get royalties. It's great for the employees. These young kids, 19, 20, make 65, 70 grand a year plus overtime, and they could do that for 30 more years. These are great paying jobs. It's great for our economy. It's great for our security. It's great for our environment. It's a disaster if Harris, Casey get their way.
Without a doubt. All things Dave McCormick. Where do we go, Dave?
DaveMcCormickPA.com. And appreciate your listeners engaging on the campaign. It's an important one. It's for the future of the country.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dave. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks.
Yeah, this ad really lays out Harris. All right, we'll have more coming up here on Talk Radio 1210.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Philo's got a world of entertainment for you to explore with just one subscription. Sign up today and start watching all the networks you love, like A&E, MTV, Discovery, VH1, TLC, Lifetime, Hallmark Channel, and so much more. Featuring current seasons of all the best drama, true crime, reality, and family-friendly shows you can't afford to miss. And with up to 3 streams at once, you'll never have to fight about what to watch. Get started today and unlock our library of over 75,000 movies and shows, and save all your favorites with the unlimited DVR, so you can rewatch them anytime, anywhere, for up to a year. Philo now includes access to AMC Plus. You can discover your next obsession from its collection of hit originals like Mad Men, The Walking Dead, Killing Eve, Orphan Black, and tons of blockbuster movies. There are no contracts, no commitments, and no hassles. For just $28 a month, Philo's a better way to watch TV. So what are you waiting for? Visit philo.tv and sign up today to start your 7-day free trial. That's PHILO.tv.
Pastor Brad Lacey here, First Baptist Church, Conshohocken. Join us Saturdays for the great message and be blessed. 5 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-246-0553. 800-246-0553. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-246-0553.
Don't miss the Education Show with Dom Giordano every Sunday morning at 5:30. Find out how you can help your child or grandchild succeed. Sponsored by New Hope Academy.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we are offering to qualified buyers a maximum discount of $13,176. This offer is good on all 2024 XC90s in stock. $13,176. Plus, the Cherry Hill Volvo 2024 model year sell down. Pricing and attention to detail here is not to be missed. Volvo should be on your shopping list now. This is the time to purchase from Cherry Hill Volvo.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
On Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
All right, it is Dom time, and one of the most important guys in this election of our lifetime, and I definitely now believe more than ever it is the co-chairman of the RNC, Michael Whatley, who's back with us here in Philadelphia on Talk Radio 1210. Chairman, welcome back. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Good to be with you.
Well, I realize that it looked like I was in the camp, I don't know about you, that thought Joe Biden was going to eke this through somehow or another, despite the soft coup that happened there with them. So, you put all your stakes down on that. But I'm sure you guys were also looking at VP Harris. Give us a sense. The claim is Republicans were not ready for her.
Well, look, I think that we don't have to change our playbook one bit, because Kamala Harris has been there. It is the Biden-Harris administration. It's the Biden-Harris campaign. And every single disastrous policy that they have run over the last 4 years, whether it is an open border policy that has allowed 10 million illegal immigrants to come across the southern border, whether it is her casting the tie-breaking vote on a $1.9 trillion spending package that ushered in record-setting inflation that has driven gasoline prices, grocery prices, and housing prices through the roof, or, the fact that she has been so weak on the world stage. People forget that she was the one sent to Russia to tell them not to invade Ukraine, and they invaded Ukraine 5 days later. So she owns this record of failure every bit as much as Joe Biden does. And our approach is going to remain the same, because only one candidate can unite the country, restore our southern border, restore our economy, and restore our standing in the world, and that's Donald Trump.
Talk to me, and I know you can't give us specifics, but I don't know if you probably remember, you've been in politics quite a while, the campaign of George Herbert Walker Bush, the Willie Horton ad, that was villainized, but it was the truth of what happened. We played it again this morning. And Kamala Harris has similar baggage, I would say, in her time as a prosecutor, alleged prosecutor in California, some of the illegal immigrant stuff, some of the anti-cop stuff. Are we going to be seeing that, do you think?
Well, look, I think the more relevant part of what we can talk about is the fact that as a United States Senator, she ran an effort to bail out criminals. And one of those criminals turned out to commit murder. The fact that as a senator, she has led the defund the police movement. She has, as a vice president, always wanted to defund the police. She has never backed the blue. There is a trail on this, a mile long, to talk about her and her standing in terms of where the police are. In fact, we just had the police organization, the major police organization across the country, endorsed President Trump from the stage in Charlotte, North Carolina yesterday. So we have law enforcement officers all across this country who understand that Kamala Harris would be an absolute disaster for them and their everything that they're trying to do to protect our communities.
Now, the border czar stuff with her, their contention, and boy, it's Soviet Union style. It's not just media bias. They're erasing stuff, is to say all VP Harris was supposed to do, go to Guatemala, places like that, figure out how to help them so many people won't come here. How do we deal with that?
Well, look, I mean, she was the border czar. And all you got to do is go back and look at all of the media that surrounded her taking over that role. The thing is that their border policy actually worked from their perspective. They took 94 executive actions to dismantle the most secure southern border that the United States have ever had. They're the ones that have actually sued Texas for trying to protect the border themselves. This is not an accident. This is not, we had no idea these are unintended impacts. They wanted those 10 million people in the United States. I think you need to ask yourselves why. And she is never going to be able to get away from that track record. And the American people strongly oppose the open border policies that she brings to the table.
As an issue, certainly extremely important. Does it play into the election with inflation, illegal immigration? Benjamin Netanyahu dissed yesterday, mobs outside. VP Harris didn't fulfill her duties as president of the Senate. Instead, is giving a speech at a college sorority.
Yeah, I think that it is because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have absolutely abandoned Israel. They are not standing with our allies anywhere around the world. They have made America weaker on the international stage. And I think that that's a tremendously important thing. The fact that they have walked away from Israel to try and assuage a mob and try and get a voting bloc up in Michigan is reprehensible. And it's not going to work for them because that crowd is so radical that even though Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have not stood by Israel, that group is going to continue to protest against them as well as anybody else.
Chairman, if people want to volunteer, help out, and we try to mention this each time because, voter integrity, you are the guy that I think has a tremendous reputation in this. Is there any update on that, and how do people help out? Where do they go?
We are well on our way to securing the 100,000 volunteers that we need all across the country. We need 5,000 of them in every battleground state, including Pennsylvania. We need people to go to protectthevote.com. They got to sign up. We're going to get them in. We're going to get them trained, and we're going to get them deployed because it is absolutely critical for us to be in the room whenever votes are being cast or being counted.
Absolutely. But, I mean, is there any new wrinkle, anything? It seems as if, due to your efforts, the RNC, we haven't seen anything like Zuckerbucks or anything like that out there. Is there anything you're eyeballing in Pennsylvania or the swing states?
We're monitoring pretty much everything at this point in time. We're anxiously awaiting to see kind of what the voter registration numbers are going to be at the end of the day. We have fortunately seen Republican gains on voter registration across the board. And I think that a huge part of election integrity is not just being there, but it's announcing that you're going to be there. The analogy that I use is I would rather have a police car parked in front of a storefront window than call them after a rock gets thrown through it. And that's really kind of the approach that we're going to take. We have started to get some very serious wins in the courts, including up in Pennsylvania. And we're going to continue to be very aggressive in making sure that everybody knows if you cheat in this election, we are going to catch you and you are going to get prosecuted.
Trump-Harris debate, we have the one on ABC. President Trump talking about wanting multiple debates. What can you tell us?
President has made it very clear that he wants to have multiple debates and that he uses the debates, as we saw the first one, as an opportunity to really talk directly to the American people about his vision. We keep saying that the Democrats under Joe Biden had a messenger problem, but more importantly, they have a message problem. That Kamala Harris supports every single major policy initiative that Joe Biden was championing. She was there hand in hand with him and has to answer for that. And you're going to answer for that on a debate stage when the candidates have the opportunity to talk about immigration and the southern border, to talk about inflation and inflationary spending and what that means for Americans, and to talk about our standing in the world. When America is weak, the world is a dangerous place, and we're living that right now. So, yeah, Donald Trump does absolutely want to debate, and we're looking forward to those conversations as soon as we can get them lined up.
Thank you, Chairman. Come back again soon. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. We really appreciate you and all your listeners.
All right, RNC co-chairman Michael Whatley, you heard what he said about election integrity. That's why Trump put him into that role or ticketed him for that role. That's his side of it, okay? Again, the drumbeat with the teachers union today. Project 25, again, how they want to decimate public education. No, they're making the point that, as the vice president would say, we should have that conversation about public education. We hear constantly, again, she's with the teachers union today. When the NEA was here, it was kind of funny because of the Pringle woman and all those things. Do we really have an education system? I think some people probably believe none of this matters. If all these kids, hordes of kids, turn out of school every year and they don't know that much. I mean, I wrote a piece, Dan, way back when, I think I was just getting out of teaching full-time, about at a graduation right before it, I was quizzing these kids, and Ralph Nader was a cowboy. The Pacific Ocean
It does sound like the name sounds like a cowboy, though.
The Pacific Ocean
Well,
touches...
I don't know of any Ralphs in the Midwest, or
right.
Old West.
Pacific Ocean touches Atlantic City. Touches Atlantic City.
Pacific Avenue does.
Yeah, we're in South Jersey. We're only like 30, 40 miles away. And this is the type of stuff that you get. So I guess the bottom line is, why even continue this fight? Obviously, the teachers' unions don't want to hear it. They just want to do what they want to do that's good for them. It's a failure.
What do they want to do, Tom?
All the things!
That's what they want to do.
All the things! All the things!
Yeah, she doesn't seem to have suffered anything. It was a great show. It was a great theater. They like it.
And that's what we do!
Here is the mayor of Chicago. This guy kind of got it right. He's speaking to the AFT. This is the nutbag who's probably more than a socialist, talking to the teachers and telling them he thinks there's a lot of alcohol out there before he speaks, and he's okay with that. He's going to get you that you don't have to do even less than you do now. By the way, officially, I believe the Chicago Teachers Union is the most thuggish of all teachers' unions.
A code sorority.
Here is the mayor of Chicago getting the troops at the AFT convention.
What's up, AFT? How y'all doing? Yes. I can hear a little alcohol in the air. It just feels like 8th period on the last day of school in here. Just working on that in your union contract so you don't got to sneak it out of your desk.
There you go.
I think it's funny.
Yeah, I didn't say it wasn't, Dan, but it's what they're about, too, the Chicago Teachers Union. So I could see them taking a note there. If they weren't, who doesn't? I remember those days of school with, the last couple.
I mean, the jokes that get the biggest laughs are those that have some figment of truth.
Well,
behind them,
that's exactly right. Yes. Let's get that in the contract. All the things. All the alcohol. All the alcohol.
Sounds like Brian Kilmeade, his eighth final period of eighth
All
grade.
right. Side question today is an easy one. Well, it's a little bit.
We are the NEA!
Be thinking about, how do we know we're in the future? Some invention, something going on now that tells us, wow, this is really something, or we're on the cusp of it. You're starting to, the self-driving is one.
How about Easy Pass from Starman on Twitter? That's pretty. I mean, you can just drive through, and how does it even work? It just flashes a light at you, and for some reason, it recognizes that.
True, but is that kind of like George W. Herbert Walker Bush when he got caught in the debate, when he got caught in the supermarket, going, "Wow, they have scanners and all." So did Mitt Romney, and he kept on calling it Wawas when he was in one Wawa. Trump wouldn't.
I love the political analogy. That's great.
Yeah, so, okay.
How about super flat screen LED TVs, the ones that are like paper thin that you see at the stores now?
I would agree.
How does that? Yeah,
that's cutting edge. So think of something, you go, it's pretty current now. Wow, we really are in the future. It's one step to the Jetsons. We're not going to have flying cars. The self-driving is.
Yes, we will.
I'd rather have the flying cars than the self-driving car. The self-driving just sets me off to new levels. I mean, you imagine me sitting there having a self-driving computer drive me. Oh, my goodness.
We got to do it. Like, we got to do some kind of live video from.
Oh, I'd be climbing the wall. I'd be taking over the wheel. Do not touch the wheel. Oh, God. I can imagine it. That's like Arlen Specter right before he lost the Republican primary, night before Dan. He comes on the air and says, Dom, I promise you, we'll have a double-decker over the Schuylkill.
It's a fantastic. Why do you doubt?
Oh, God.
What's wrong with that idea?
Can you imagine?
What is wrong with that fantastic idea?
The cost, too, how long it would take them to build, and the possible flaws in what they did build, Dan.
Yeah, could you imagine if they said, the Ben Franklin Bridge, the cost of it's going to take so long and so hard to build. Everything's tough to build. There's no easy building of a highway. Come on.
Well, we can't even travel now with
Look
all
up in
the delays.
Boston with their big dig. It took them like 30 years.
There you go.
But now the traffic's kind of better.
Keep on telling people we'll have the double-decker. All right, 855-839-1210. You jump in now and Talk Radio 1210.
Weekday mornings.
This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you ready for retirement? Have you prepared everything you need? Well, at Investor Schooling, we will teach you ways to better prepare for your retirement using real estate and the stock market. But you need to learn how to do it right, and that's what we teach. At Investor Schooling, we sell nothing but education. Come to Investor Schooling and learn how to have a better retirement. Go to investorschooling.com and RSVP right now for this Thursday's class at 7 o'clock. Go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you tired of hearing about the recession that's coming? Are you prepared for it? Well, listen, at investorschooling.com, we're going to teach you ways to prepare for the recession that you didn't even know existed. We're going to teach you strategies on how to use real estate. We're going to teach you strategies how to use the stock market properly. That's right, you can even make money in the stock market when the stock market goes down. Hey, go to investorschooling.com and register for a free class this Thursday night, and you will learn all of these techniques. Go to investorschooling.com right now, RSVP for this Thursday. We'll see you there.
For more expert appliance shopping advice, here's National Appliance Warehouse's own appliance guru.
Hello, let's talk premium. These are top-of-the-line appliances that dream kitchens are made of. If you're planning an investment like this in your home, where you buy is as important as what you buy. At National Appliance Warehouse, we're committed to delivering the superior buying experience you deserve. Our showroom features beautifully displayed premium appliances of every major brand, including highly sought-after Sub-Zero, Wolf, and Cove. Our team of gurus is well-versed at guiding you as you navigate the same appliances you'd find in the most magnificent homes and kitchens of cooking enthusiasts. And the National Appliance Warehouse team has the expertise to properly deliver and install your stunning new appliances.
Celebrate Christmas in July at National Appliance Warehouse. Purchase a qualifying Sub-Zero, Wolf, and Cove appliance package and choose 3 years of additional warranty or rebate up to $2,500. Click nationalappliancewarehouse.com or visit the showroom in tax-free Wilmington today.
Window Nation presents the 1210 WPHT Veteran Spotlight in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation. Listen the first Wednesday of every month as Kale & Company shines a spotlight on a local veteran, highlighting their remarkable commitment to the community and their exceptional service in the military. Presented by Window Nation. At Window Nation, there's nothing more important than giving back to the communities we serve. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
With so much uncertainty in the world today, you may find yourself wondering, is now even the right time to retire?
So many people are waiting, and those folks are going to be waiting a really long time, I hate to say, because there's no perfect time. The market is always unpredictable and volatile.
Fortunately, Jim Cipriotti has been helping get people to, through, and beyond retirement for over 25 years. Each week, he wants to help give you that freedom to retire. Listen to Freedom to Retire with Jim Cipriotti, Saturday mornings at 9 and Sunday afternoons at 5 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Are you raising the child of a loved one? You're not alone. Like many others, you've stepped up to raise the child of a friend or family member, allowing them to live, grow, and thrive among people they know. While fulfilling, it can also be challenging. But there is support. PA Kin Connector helps kinship caregivers just like you by providing connections to resources, services, training, and support groups. Don't navigate the journey alone.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Hey, Clementon. Yeah! We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
All right, Tom Giordano show. Smart play by the Republicans today. Their resolution condemning VP Harris's work as border czar. 6 Democrats voted with them. And they're not all in border states. They're in places like Colorado, Maine, North Carolina, Washington State. One is in Texas and one's in Arkansas. But 6 congresspeople who are Democrats voted to say, yeah, she was the border czar, and look at the results. And the point I made right at the top that we have to make, it's one thing to say media bias. Sometimes it's in the eye of the beholder. Kamala-nomics is what it's being called today, too. That's where she's most
It doesn't work.
radical. It doesn't have a Mamala. The Mamala-nomics. I give her credit for making herself into a Mamala.
Kamalomics?
Kamalomics. That's even better. The bottom line is, as border czar, they are actually going back and they're essentially criticizing themselves. Axios, for example, the same woman who wrote headline border czar, Kamala Harris, now goes back and writes a piece saying that was untrue. No one said, you're going to have to, there's a big correction needed here. And no one's telling her that. They're doing it themselves. They've also excised all the surveys that indicated she was the most liberal of all the senators, more so than Sanders or Elizabeth Warren. And her economic policies would double or triple down on even what Biden has done. So Mark Thies, go ahead, Dan.
I got the name for him.
Yes.
Communism.
All right. Mark Thiessen, writing in the Washington Post, says if Harris is a gaffe-prone leftist, as we know, why didn't anyone challenge her? In other words, the divisive speech of Biden last night telling us, communism. Yes, I got it now. Yeah, it does work. Yeah, it does work. It's better. When you said it, it wasn't as slow as Brian Kilmeade. You have to slow it down. But the fact that they're telling us, as Biden did again last night, the country's on the line, not just policies.
Sorority.
But what's on the line is we won't have a country. You won't have the Constitution. You won't have any of that if Trump is elected. So if that's the case, wouldn't more people step up and throw their hat into the ring is the point that he makes. No, they're looking at it politically thinking, well, even if Trump wins, the field will be clear across the board one way or another in 2028. I'm going to wait for that. And Dan and I, and again, I give a tip of the hat to him maybe earlier on, we've been making the point, and they're starting to finally admit it after seeing what happened yesterday. How in the world would you not take Josh Shapiro? He is more politically ruthless than any of these guys from my mind. It's clear. He's more skilled at it, more vicious. And he's Pennsylvania. And I think he'd stand a 90% chance of delivering Pennsylvania. Why would you not take him again? And I don't think she will in the end. I think it's going to be somebody like Mark Kelly. The reason is the rampant anti-Semitism that we saw break out yesterday. That's who they are. You cannot do that and get support. And he's very pro-Israel, as he should be. All right, 855-839-1210. Let's take some callers. Joe in Columbus, New Jersey on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Joe, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dom. Dom, all they're doing is playing semantics with their own mistakes. And it's damage control.
Yeah, but here's the point, though, Joe. You say all, but if the media does that, that's the source of what people get. So we have to figure out how to break that down, how to penetrate that.
Well, we got to talk about her work ethic. It doesn't exist. It does not exist. She was immediately appointed that position, and she went to a non-border. She went to a non-border city, and then she hasn't been back since. So her work ethic through her whole tenure has been horrendous. And I think you could build on that.
I'm not sure that that's going to pop. They're going to say VP doesn't do a lot, but not going to the border. She's right, given their side of it, given their strategy, and given what they want. Of course she wouldn't go to the border. Yeah, of course.
Well, we got to tell people, you know, it's got to be known that she didn't see what was intended to be seen.
Right,
down there.
exactly. That's the play. But you got to win this battle that she was the border czar. You know,
I think you got to make it look ridiculous, you know, on the lines of, oh, come on, Kamala. You're giving something.
I like that. I like that kind of ad, Joe, to do that. All right, Joe, something that tells you you're in the future. What do you have?
Well, I think it's these location chips they're putting in pets. I think it's gonna expand out beyond that.
Oh, you're not starting toward humans, a conspiracy. Yeah, right?
Yeah, quite possibly. Start with prisoners. You know, just keep getting your foot in the door and then your leg in the door. Sure, why not?
All right. Thank you. Thanks very much. 855-839-1210, AT&T and Verizon Wireless. All you have to do is just push pound 1210 and we'll get you on board.
Parents microchipping their children to see where they are.
Yeah, well, I remember that, Dan, early on. That was the thing, the identification and all that. I get it, but, man, this is a step too far. How about putting people in jail that we obviously know might be engaged in this stuff versus talking this other crazy stuff? All right. 855-839-1210, though. That's how you get in. That's the side question today.
Just if you're curious, it is not currently possible to microchip your child.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, though. And with Harris, this is going to be more and more of a widespread media tactic. The problem they forget with the internet now, it's relatively easy. We played you that one. Dan's right. It's a ping pong effect in it of what the media said when she was announced as the border czar, and then what happened in the last week when they're trying to get away from that title. It's a battle you got to win, though. If you're going to make it stick on the border, and if that is the number one issue, and apparently it is now, you had 6 Democrats vote today a resolution saying she was the border czar. She has a great deal of responsibility for what happened here. She wasn't just vice president. She was anointed the border czar. She didn't go there to see what she didn't want to see. And her policies, and it was more than going to these Central American countries and trying to dissuade them from sending people here. 855-839-1210 is how you get on board. Let's go to the Earl of Tacony early today. Hey, Earl, welcome in.
Well, I'm early because I want to talk. First off, I do remember them saying that they wanted to put chips in Alzheimer's patients so that when grandma wanders off and you don't know where she is, you can track them down.
There's always a reason. That's how it starts. Yeah, I mean, we get the reason. We get the efficiency of that potentially, but then we know what happens inch by inch with it.
And they do have flying cars. You haven't done the research. The Jetson 1. It's a race car-inspired space frame safety cell. It can fly with one motor, has a hands-free hover and emergency function, battery propulsion, ballistic parachute with rapid deployment, and radar sensor-driven auto-landing system. It's a 253-pound personal vehicle that runs on lithium-ion batteries and can travel a maximum speed of I was just looking at that.
It's legitimate. There is actually a flying car he's talking about.
And it's legal? You can do that?
Yeah, and you don't need a pilot's license. According to the website, all you need is $92,000, and you can fly with no pilot's license in the United States.
You're bearing the lead, though. Where's it from, Earl? Do you know where it was created?
It doesn't say.
Arezzo, Italy.
I'm on the official Jetson website.
The Italians created the first flying car. It's Italy. Italy's the answer.
Of course. Who else would do it? Okay. We settled
I have it here in Palo Alto, California.
No.
Yeah.
Because I know the French developed a personal flying platform.
No, I'm looking at the answer, Earl. I'm looking at the answer. It says Arezzo, Italy. Italy is where it was created.
All right. So, Earl, tell us about fracking while you're here. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the reason I called. Yeah, fracking has been beneficial because when I'm not in the city, I'm in an area where there's a lot of fracking. It's much safer than it used to be. They always used to talk about how when you used to frack, it would poison the wells and your tap water would catch on fire. One of the first things they did before they even drilled was they did seismic testing, and they kept making you fill out a form. Where's your well located next to your house? So they mapped everything out when they drilled. Now, the vehicles for doing all the work is very hard on the roads. So in exchange for doing all that drilling, the oil company, the gas companies, went and rebuilt all of the bridges in our county so that they could handle all the heavier traffic. And it is an economic boom because some farmers have actually retired, usually the ones that actually have the wells on their property. And it's now to the point where you can't find anybody to take any fields because all the farmers are completely filled up with as much land as they can handle because some of them retired. The ones that are still doing the farming have more land than they know what to do with.
All right, Earl. Thank you for that. So tell us, what's the futuristic thing for you?
Mine is just playing off of what you and Dan have been talking about. I was at BJ's Wholesale Club the other day, and they have an employee called Callie, which is a autonomous robot that goes around and does inventory. So we have robots that can go around and count boxes on shelves, but we still haven't developed a voting machine that can count votes.
Thank you very much. Well, we have Marty. I can't stand Marty, as everybody knows.
Even the googly eyes don't make it better?
The googly eyes and always bumping into you and screaming, spill on aisle 8. These people hate it. There's one drop there, and it's screaming a spill that they have to deal with. All right.
So real quick, on that Jetson vehicle that Earl was talking about that was created in Italy, it was actually first developed in Poland, and they moved from Poland to Italy.
That's unlikely.
So I got to ask, do you think that was a move because they knew that if people knew that the Polish created a flying vehicle, they wouldn't want to ride in it?
That's it. Exactly. I was going to go
I say that
there.
as a Borowski.
Yes.
I'm just
I knew you were. I knew you were. That's why I let you do it. Exactly right. All right.
Do they trust the Italians? Well, I don't know about that.
Oh, when it comes to vehicles, they do. Positive vehicles, women, yes.
Yeah, didn't Da Vinci have like some flying car plans or something like that?
He did.
Yeah.
All right, coming up, for a while, we've held off on this because all the breaking developments, but it's a good day for it. Mark Dallas is a cop who was involved in the schools. We're going to play you a little bit coming up of a school shooting that he was involved in where he knew the shooter had stayed over his house with his son, his sleepover, something like that. And
so he knew the kid because his son kind of floated in the same social circles.
Yes.
But he wasn't sleeping over the night before the shooting or anything.
No, not the night before the shooting. And the other part of it is Pennsylvania, in the middle of this budget thing, passes a law that says that every school district now must have a trained security officer trained in firearms, too. You must have them trained in that. And I'm telling you, this is an issue floating out there where school districts are going to have to make a decision. And once people get wind of this, it's going to be very interesting to see a lot of our suburban districts. Why wouldn't you have someone thoroughly trained there able to stop an intruder like Officer Mark Dallas did in an horrific situation? We'll play you the news coverage of it coming up, and then get his take on all this and what it was like to go through that. You do it at 855-839-1210. That's how you get in.
Hey, Philly, it's Ike Reese. In the city of brotherly love, the only thing we love more than our teams is great savings. And with unlimited welcome from Verizon, you can save big, even if you're on a single line. For a limited time, single lines start at just $50 a month when you bring your own phone. With auto pay plus taxes and fees, that's a savings of $15 a month. And when you switch, now you can save on the things you love, like Netflix and Max, all on the most awarded 5G network. Now that's a real win. There's never been a better time to switch to the network America relies on. But this offer won't last long. Visit your local Verizon store to switch and save big today.
$180 BYOD promo credit and $360 local promo credit applied over 36 months. For new customers with one line on your own 4G, 5G phone on unlimited welcome plan required. Additional terms apply. Auto pay and paper-free billing required. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. $10 a month for each My Plan perk. Additional terms and conditions apply per perk.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free. at ziprecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ziprecruiter.com/free.
Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Fargo is only available on the smartphone versions of the Wells Fargo mobile app. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
Lose 20 to 40 plus pounds guaranteed with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into their radio show Sundays at 2 or visit njdiet.com.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we are offering to qualified buyers a maximum discount of $13,176. This offer is good on all 2024 XC90s in stock. $13,176. Plus, the Cherry Hill Volvo 2024 model year sell down. Pricing and attention to detail here is not to be missed. Volvo should be on your shopping list now. This is the time to purchase from Cherry Hill Volvo.
Weather sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
The clouds and humidity stick around across the Delaware Valley again today. There will be some showers around mainly south of Philadelphia, high 86. Tonight becoming partly cloudy and less humid, low 67. And for Friday, very pleasant, mostly sunny, with a high 86.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Today, we're the largest injury firm in the world, and I'm thankful to you for trusting us all these years. We'll always be here for the people, not the powerful. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, broadcasting from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter.
All right, Dom Giordano Show. Dan, take us back to the birthplace of Ronald Reagan, Dixon, Illinois.
More than 100 people gathering along the Rock River in Dixon, offering praise and thanks that the Dixon High School shooting wasn't worse.
1 second sooner, 1 second later, we could be looking at a very different situation right now.
15-year police veteran and resource officer Mark Dallas confronted the suspected shooter after shots were fired outside of a graduation rehearsal. Dallas chasing him out of the school. That suspect, 19-year-old Matt Milby, allegedly shooting at Officer Dallas as Dallas ran after him and returned fire, wounding Milby and taking him in alive.
The subject in custody on the far west side of the stadium.
Dixon Police Chief Steve Howell.
I could not be more proud of the police officer and the way he responded to the situation. With shots ringing out through the hallways of the school, he charged toward the suspect and confronted him head on.
Sophomore Evelyn Ebersol says she was inside the gym as the gun went off.
I think it was very brave of him. I think you hear stories of like officers hiding, not doing anything, and that's not what he did. He went and he faced the problem head on.
Investigators taking 4 bags and a computer tower out of Milby's home as evidence. His mother telling us her son was ostracized, but that she's thankful that Officer Dallas didn't take Milby's life.
I honestly would have to tell him thank you because I think on most cases they would kill them.
Now, students that we spoke to say Officer Dallas also has a son who was in that graduation rehearsal he was able to protect as well. Police say the shooter was acting alone.
All right, Officer Mark Dallas is somebody who's a retired officer now, and the only way we can get him on, it must be raining. He's usually out on the boat and drinking. Maybe the alcohol has been curbed here for this interview. We don't know after playing that Brian Kilmeade stuff all day. Officer, thank you. It's always great to bring a hero onto the show and someone who's continuing as a resource for school resource officers. And Dan probably briefed you, Mark, that here in Pennsylvania, in the middle of this budget thing that was going nuts, They, as a compromise, got a law passed where everybody has to train up some school resource officer / even firearms training by law, and they're giving you money, and it presupposes that a lot of school districts now will have an armed resource officer in the schools.
Yeah, I think that's outstanding that your state's doing that. I would personally prefer to see certified police officers in all the schools that are armed and carrying a firearm like myself, and then probably certified with the National Association of School Resource Officers. That would be great, but the armed security, as long as they're trained, that's an awesome idea.
You heard in that package, too, that the girl said, sadly, in some of these instances, Uvalde is just, and I don't want to have you have to run down other law enforcement, but it is relatively rare, shockingly, I think, that police officers do move toward the shooter. In Columbine, they did. And Mark, you probably know they stayed outside for a while. There was talk of bombs and all. I hear that, but people were being massacred. So what was your thought process? You knew of this kid through your son?
Actually, I coached this kid, our shooter, from 6th grade all the way to senior high school in football and track. He did spend the night at our house before. He ran around with my son in grade school, and then he started to stray from the groups that my son hung around with and kind of dabbled in a little bit of drug stuff. So my son got away from him and never really hung out with him too much except for sports.
So when you're confronting him and chasing him down and you know a suspect in that situation, and according to reports he's still firing, et cetera, I know you're trained, if you're going to shoot, you're training to use lethal force. What were you thinking about that?
Well, when I engaged him in the school, he had just got done shooting at one of our staff members, and he missed, thank God. And he ran out the front of our gymnasium. And later in court, I found out he had a malfunction in his firearm. That's why he disengaged. But as he exited the school, he cleared the jam up in his firearm. He had an Uzi 9mm with a long 7-inch or 9-inch barrel on it. And then he started shooting at me. Knowing the kid, I just did what I was trained to do. And we're trained to stop the threat. He was still an active threat, so I engaged him. I shot at him. He was one of our linebackers, so he's really fast, and I got him twice. I struck him, and about 45 yards out. So.
After that experience, though, being through that, what do you say to those? There was the Vice President of the United States today at the American Federation of Teachers. I'm a former teacher, Mark, and I believe not only should you have the certified school resource officer, but I believe that you could do this with certain people in the school, certify them. Maybe teachers, it's a little hard, being in a classroom and having a sidearm. But the principal, the vice principal, the athletic director, even people in the lunch thing, they're not directly in front of students. What do you think of that idea?
I've had some officers or other teachers when I was still working ask me the same thing. I think I'm like you. I think there are certain people that aren't in front of the students that could be trained to do that stuff, and I'm not opposed to it. Back when I was still working, I kind of was, because I knew when we had our situation, we probably had 50 cops from outside of the area showing up that doesn't know everybody that's there. So if we had some teachers there that were armed, they possibly could have got injured themselves.
Yeah, I understand. Here's what Vice President Harris said. Mark Dallas.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay.
Here you go. I just pulled that back up.
While you try to create safe and welcoming places where our children can learn, extremists attack our freedom to live safe from gun violence. They have the nerve to tell teachers to strap on a gun in the classroom.
All right, so Mark, safe and welcoming places. The only way that I see that you can do that is to have someone like you there for a couple reasons. One, if there's a sense of a shooter that someone like you is there, it ratchets up the fact that they'll go somewhere else. And two, if the worst is happening, I've always thought, you were in it, they can't massacre people. That kid could have killed the one person he fired at, but when you're under fire yourself, you can't methodically go through and just massacre people.
Right. I guarantee you when our shooter seen me, he forgot about me. I seen the look in his face, and he was like, oh, my God, I forgot about him. He has a gun, too. And that's why he engaged me. We never found out the reason why, but what the vice president is saying, look at all the people that have come across our border that we do not know. What, 8 million plus? Christopher Wray, the FBI director, is saying that we have terrorists that we have to start worrying about. We need to harden our targets, which obviously these terrorists and criminals, they know that our schools are not hardened targets, not all of them. Our department, we've always had an SRO ever since Columbine in our schools, our high school and our middle school. And we trained for this day. And I would say 95% of our SROs were all certified SWAT officers of some sort, or they served on a SWAT team.
Yeah. Officer Mark Dallas with us here on Talk Radio 1210. I know Dan has a question in a minute, but I have one more. I once did, of all shows, Mark, the Montel Williams show. And the point that I made, I was on there to say, we need someone like you in there. Montel Williams, I'll tell you this, the person that was anti my thing walked out, Dan, and the door slammed on the side of the set. So I did my job. And what I pointed to, Mark, my experience in schools, several schools that I was in, had an unfathomable number of doors and entrances. And sure, you can tell people all the time they should self-lock, they can do all that stuff, but delivery people come, or somebody forgets, props open a door in Uvalde. I think they did that. You can't depend on that. There are too many doors, and there always will be, apparently, in schools. To protect them in that way, you need somebody like you there.
Yeah, we had that problem when I was at the high school. We had 33 doors at our school, and we had about 900 students and staff. The doors and the entry points were whittled down, I guess you could say, to certain points that the kids could enter. But you do have people that prop them open, or you have a teacher waiting for a food drop-off or something. So we actually our department would test them. We'd send people in trying to get in there, and the staff knew they could get in trouble too if they would do that or got caught doing it.
Officer Mark Dallas with us. Dan, go right ahead.
Yeah, I just want to give a laud to him with some of his accomplishments. Named Officer of the Year by International Association Chiefs of Police. He's done a lot. He has a street named after him locally. Dom, he has a day named after him.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
How do you celebrate? See, we have Dom Giordano Day in a resort called Wildwood, and we have Mulligan's Bar, which is famous. We go there, and people celebrate Dom Giordano Day. How do they celebrate Mark Dallas Day?
Well, usually it's a bunch of either retired cops or cops. We all get together and enjoy a few beverages.
I love it. So I underline the accomplishments because I would assume, sir, that you're able now to turn your expertise, what you've been through, into some kind of advising. If school districts in Pennsylvania who are now required to have these school resource officers, on deck, if they want your help, is there a way for them to reach out? How do they get your help?
Yes, I started an LLC. It's called Dallas Consulting Group, and email is madallas161@gmail.com.
Give it that again, officer, please.
madallas161@gmail.com.
Thank you so much. Thanks for what you've done, and thanks for being a character, too. I can tell.
Thank you.
Thanks, officer. We have you in the bullpen. We'll be calling you.
Thank you, officer.
All
Thanks,
right,
officer.
Anytime.
Thanks, Officer Mark Dallas. Yeah, watch this now. We're ahead of the curve here. We had on Donna Sheeran, the state rep, a great state rep from Montgomery County, and we talked about what the heck happened here. We're in the budget thing. We're talking school choice. All of a sudden, as a compromise, they're giving $50,000 as a grant to every school district, I believe it is. And what they have to do is they, by law, have to have someone trained in various police work / firearms. So the question is going to be, how many school districts now are going to have someone armed, at least in the high school or something like that. I don't think they could do it in every school. And how many will reject it? What do you think your local school board would do? Philadelphia reject, Lower Merion reject, but there's any number of them in the Central Bucks. Oh, man. Probably rejection there. All right. Phone lines are 855-839-1210. Coming up at 2 o'clock, friend of the show, Miranda Devine, great writer for the New York Post, has a scoop today. Local cops across the country are refusing to share info with the FBI because they have a crisis of confidence in them. And one of the major reasons is DEI hires. DEI again. Vice President Harris, answer your phone. 855-839-1210.
Talk Radio 1210's Huge Politics and Pints with Donald Trump Jr. is moving to Thursday, September 12th. Join Dom Giordano as he talks to Donald Trump Jr. about all things Trump. Just 2 days after the planned presidential debate. The new date, Thursday, September 12th at Scottish Rite Auditorium in Collingswood. Your tickets include a copy of Letters to Trump by former President Trump. A cash bar will be available. Get your tickets now at 1210WPHT.com. That's 1210WPHT.com.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Comedian Joe Conklin.
Joel Embiid is excited. The process marches on.
Oh, George, welcome to Philadelphia.
Morris, hallelujah.
See Joe Conklin's comedy show at Archbishop Wood High School in Warminster, PA, Saturday, September 28th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com.
The Sixers will prevail.
Oh, baby! joeconklin.com.
Are you dealing with tax debt or unfiled tax returns and don't know how to make the problem go away? Is just the thought of dealing with the IRS giving you a panic attack? Let Legal Tax Defense take the pressure off of you. All tax relief companies are not the same, and all tax problems are complex and different. If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS, the experienced tax attorneys and licensed enrolled agents can resolve the toughest cases. For over 15 years, Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating settlements for individuals and businesses just like you. All of their online ratings are A+. Even if you've received a threatening notice from the IRS, facing a wage garnishment, or have had your bank account levied, it's not too late to call Legal Tax Defense for a free, no-risk consultation. Get peace of mind and security knowing you hired the best. Call Legal Tax Defense at 800-962-2403. 800-962-2403. That's 800-962-2403.
You're in hot water, mister.
What'd I do?
I told you months ago our utility bills were getting higher because of that old outdated tank water heater.
Maybe it's time we finally switch to a Navien tankless.
Learn about Navien's high-efficiency tankless water heaters, endless hot water, all while helping you save on your energy costs.
Hey, look at this. Our utility bill is lower since we got the Navien tankless water heater.
Who's in hot water now?
We are, all the time.
Learn more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
Do you feel like you're going through life clouded by doubt? Talk to California Psychics. Our trusted and accurate psychics are available 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at californiapsychics.com. Right now, new customers get 80% off their first reading. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
Program, y'all.
It's Dan time
I can handle things. I'm smart. I'm like everybody says.
with Dom.
That's right, it's that time of the afternoon. Producer Dan takes over the Dom Giordano program for some Dan time with Dom. And Dom, I've had a moment now where I've been sincerely disappointed by one of my all-time favorites, Dom. The person here behind us, I love his music, but maybe I shouldn't because his politics are really starting to get to me. And it's not Bruce Springsteen, Dom, it's Dave Matthews. Take a listen.
I think it's terrible when the majority of the world is looking at this man and what he's doing in Gaza, and then also what he's overseeing in the West Bank and East Jerusalem, that we're welcoming into the so-called sacred halls of our government. This has been an ongoing struggle for people that just want to have dignity and be able to live independent lives and dream of a better future. And this man is the pinnacle of the obstacle toward that freedom. And that we have him visiting the country is obscene. It's a disgusting show of support for someone that doesn't deserve our support. I just think...
So doesn't deserve our support. Disgusting that Netanyahu's there talking to Congress. Dom, thoughts on Dave Matthews? Ever a fan? And what are your thoughts on these comments?
I'm not a fan, but I was amazed. He used to routinely, it couldn't have gone back to Vet Stadium. Maybe it was Citizens Bank Park. I think at one point they would sell out Vet Stadium for 2 or 3 nights.
He really is like the Bruce Springsteen for the next generation after, where people will travel around, follow him. I know someone that's been to like 70-plus Dave Matthews concerts. It's like, why? But apparently he does a different show each time, similar to Bruce Springsteen. That's why people go see him, because they get a different experience every time they see him.
Well, I would say on this, there's certain things where you disagree with the person and you just move on. There are other things that are so fundamental, makes it hard to.
So Bruce, Dave, they do a different show every time. The person that does the same show every single time for an entire tour.
Right.
Taylor Swift, Dom. I don't know if you saw this, but there's a new psychological phenomenon happening that fans attending her concert are in such a state of euphoria that they report memory loss and can't remember anything about the concert right after they leave the concert.
What kind of pot smoking is going on here is the way we phrase that. I'm just itching to see, is she more or less now likely to endorse because of Harris?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You think she's more?
Well, does she get criticized for lack of diversity of her audience? It's fairly diverse, I guess. And if she is, I could see her then, I'll show you.
My thing for why I think a lot of these kids are forgetting these concerts today is because they're watching their entire dang concerts through the screen on their phone and trying to record something they'll never watch again. Put the phones away, enjoy the experience. That's all I got for Dan time.
All right, brief Dan time today. Okay, we got time. Coming up, Miranda Devine is just as good as it gets at the New York Post. She, with Hunter Biden, wrote the book about it. Got a story today about a report out from whistleblowers, a lot of evidence, massive report that local cops are not wanting to deal with the FBI, and the prime cause of their lack of confidence is DEI hires, things associated with it. Now, there's a new phrase out today, and it's already under attack. Merit, excellence, and intelligence. An anti-DEI approach called MEI frames diversity as a side effect of good hiring, not the goal. Yeah, and I would agree with that. Diversity is not our strength. Our strength is our strength. Talent. Merit. People that can do the job. Merit. So I want to talk about that with Miranda, too. How do you go about, I think it's relatively simple, and I'll explain. How do you go about being fairly diverse without making diversity the goal, but excellence? There is a way to do that commonsensically. I'll explain what that is, and we'll get the lowdown on the FBI here on Talk Radio 1210.
It's one thing falling in love with a house, picturing yourself moving in and calling it home, and quite another navigating the world of price negotiating, mortgage lenders, and finding the budget that works best for you. An agent who's a Realtor can make understanding that world easier. Realtors have the expertise, access to proprietary data, and tools to help you get from imagining living somewhere to actually doing it. That's the kind of help we can provide. Because that's who we are. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
Hi, I'm Kamiko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Ink card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
With the Chase Ink Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for Business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
Why are prices spiking in Pennsylvania? It's simple. It's inflation. And Senator Bob Casey's reckless spending caused the problem to grow. Casey joined Washington liberals in voting for trillions in reckless spending. All of Senator Casey's spending caused inflation to get out of control until disaster. Everything is too expensive, from gas to groceries, and Senator Casey helped create this mess. Worse, Casey voted to allow COVID relief checks for illegal immigrants and convicted criminals, even murderers. Senator Casey voted to allow more money for illegals, leaving less for us. Call Senator Casey at 202-224-6324. Tell him to put Pennsylvania families first and fix his inflation disaster. Support S575, the Fight Inflation Through Balanced Budgets Act, paid for by One Nation, onenationamerica.org.
Do you have a property that you no longer want? Maybe you inherited the property. Maybe you're underwater in the property. Or maybe you're just a tired landlord, tired of dealing with tenants. Listen, I can buy those properties, and I'll buy those properties fast. I can close in 2 weeks. I buy properties cash. My name is Larry Steinhaus. Give me a call at 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137, and I will personally answer the call. You can also visit easyOutRealEstate.com. Hey, this is Larry Steinhaus from Investor Schooling. Did you know I have a radio show every Saturday from 1 to 3? It's called The Larry Steinhaus Show, and it's sponsored by Investor Schooling. On this show, you will learn things about finances and things about money that you never knew before. But even more of a reason to listen to this show is how much fun we have. If you haven't heard the banter between me, Omri, and Dr. Deb, you haven't heard the greatest show on earth. Listen to this show this Saturday at 1 o'clock right here on WPHT, and I promise you will learn something.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
On Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
All right, it is Dom time. Welcome in, everyone. Dom Giordano Show, 855-839-1210. In a moment, we'll talk with Miranda Devine. Her big piece today, this group of whistleblowers, it's a huge special report, New York Post. The FBI suffers a crisis of confidence with local cops refusing to share info with them. Damning whistleblower report reveals due to a lot of DEI hires, among other things. And I just said before the break, one of the ways around, I mentioned this MEI stuff, one of the ways around this, the thing that you rigorously have to do if you still want quality, but you want to see if there are people across all spectrums that might want to be part of your effort, the only basic answer, the first step is you have to check off the box that you are actually going where these applicants might be, that they're aware of you. They're aware of what the role is. They're aware that they would be welcome to try out. So when affirmative action actually happened way back when versus a quota system, that's what it was supposed to mean. You had to affirmatively prove that you were reaching out in ways that would reach a wide and diverse group of people. I'm fine with that. But this idea that diversity has to be a goal, and in the case of the Secret Service, 30% women by 2030, is ludicrous. How do you know that number is doable? And one of the elements of the shooting of President Trump, you had women, one looked to be not fit at all, and the other, or a couple of them, were not big enough to block bullets that still might be headed for him. That's why at the convention you saw these huge guys with him. That's the bottom line. I mean, is it silly to say, let's look at the NBA? You know, who in the WNBA, for example? These are allegedly the world's best women basketball players. One of them went toe-to-toe with Steph Curry, shooting threes, Dan, and I thought she might have been able to beat him. It was that close. Iesco, I guess it is, right? She couldn't play on an NBA team. She couldn't guard anybody. She's not quick enough to get her shot off against anybody in the NBA. She can shoot if it's a three-point shooting contest, but that's not what it is. So I don't think there's anybody there that could play in the NBA. Brittany Griner, they laugh at her, you know, even though she's 6'10", 6'11", whatever she might be. It's just not doable. So the NBA's not looking for diversity. The NFL's not looking for diversity. They're looking for who gives them a millimeter of a better shot at winning. That's the only thing that's all important. So this idea, this continued idea that we're not about diversity, and that's why Kamala Harris is such a breakthrough. However they want to go back and rewrite history. Joe Biden had all these deals. He was going to pick a woman, and then after he said that, he gradually started to say it's going to be a black woman. And you remember the interviews. And she is a disaster. Polling indicates that. Their argument on the other side is, no, it doesn't. You are looking at a jaundiced eye where you only think that white men have the ability to do a job. You try to come up with metrics when it's males against females, physical fitness, and it's doable. They don't want to hear that. All right, Miranda Devine, though, is on to something big here because of all the stuff with the FBI, Secret Service. Big-time writer for the New York Post. Dan, she's going to be on with a Nicholas Giordano today, or she already was?
I think she already was, but I don't know.
I'm following another Giordano? That's in my contract.
In a row. It's
that
too many.
That can't happen. That's too many Giordanos in one day for Miranda Devine. Miranda, welcome in. Why are you scheduling so many Giordanos?
Hi there.
Hi, Miranda. Yeah, why are you scheduling so many Giordanos? I thought you would be more diverse. Come on.
Look, I just think it's just luck today. This must be my Giordano day. and it's been a lot of fun, I must say. Your cousin, Nicholas, the professor, is got a fantastic podcast, and he's into a lot of national security stuff, so he's very knowledgeable. And then, so out of the frying pan into the fire now, and you're another fantastic Giordano.
Well, thank you.
So wherever your ancestors came from in Italy, it was obviously a very good place with lots of good food to build the brain.
Not wrong.
Not wrong. Well, you have another great piece here in the New York Post today, and it's ripped from so many stories, not just the FBI, but what we saw happening with the shooting of President Trump. So what's the premise of this report by whistleblowers about local cops?
Well, this is a group of retired and serving FBI people, very senior, and there are a lot of them, and they just were moved by the terrible state that the FBI is in, the reputation, the loss of trust. To last fall, they did a report on how DEI is just decimating the new recruits in the FBI. They've got these incompetent, physically unfit, drug-addicted, mentally ill, just hopeless candidates are coming in and really destroying the Bureau. But their latest report, which I've written about today, is about how local law enforcement partners, which is local cops and sheriff's deputies all around the country, which are vital to the FBI being able to do anything about crime or whatever it is they do, I've just lost so much trust with them that they have started to withhold information. They don't trust them. They don't want to share anything with them. They think that ultimately that these FBI people are so woke, they're so arrogant, that they're afraid that they themselves, that the local cops themselves will somehow come under FBI scrutiny for having the wrong political views, aka if they're conservative. And the real loss of trust started around the January 6th, 2021 Capitol riot, when these local law enforcement people were being prevailed upon by the FBI to do things that they felt were wrong, to round up people that were innocent or to raid them or just basically it looked like this was a political and partisan investigation and targeting Trump supporters quite wrongly. And then, of course, came the Mar-a-Lago raid on Donald Trump's residence, which the FBI conducted. And again, local law enforcement partners looked at that, even if they weren't, personally involved. They looked at that from afar and saw that there was something really wrong about raiding a former president, and that it was of a piece with this bias that they saw among the FBI, particularly the new agents.
And that's why yesterday when we hear Christopher Wray testify, there was a blow-up over January 6th, to your point, but also we don't trust them, and they're investigating probably something even more untrustworthy, what the Secret Service dropped the ball with the shooting of President Trump.
Exactly. So, this is the problem, and you saw it yesterday with a lot of the Republican questions, which was how can we trust the FBI to conduct this, investigation of how the Secret Service handled that assassination attempt and allowed this 20-year-old kid to get up on a roof with a rifle and shoot at the president and kill, the poor fireman, Corey Comparatore. So how can we trust them? This is the same organization that buried the Hunter Biden laptop, that pre-bunked the Hunter Biden laptop with the social media organizations, which ultimately ended up with the New York Post being censored. That was the FBI interfering in the election. And then, of course, there was the whole Russia hoax, the Mueller investigation, the crippling of Donald Trump's presidency basically from before it even started by the FBI. So there's been no accountability. So why would we trust them to now conduct this incredibly important investigation? And Chris Wray was no help. He's wide-eyed and innocent. Oh, how could anyone not trust the FBI?
Yeah, it is a shame. Every American institution, the Secret Service, just the latest to bite the dust. Miranda, I really trust your opinion on this. I just said a moment ago, the only way that I can know to keep a shot at diversity, but also excellence, is to make sure rigorously you are advertising, you're promoting what you do, that you want people of all backgrounds to take a shot at becoming a member, FBI, Secret Service, whatever it might be. Almost anything else that you do after that, I'm afraid, is going to be a downturn. You have to have certain metrics in place that are objective, and if you can't meet them, you can't be a member.
Well, that's the way it used to be. That's the way the whole of America used to be. It was a meritocracy, and it didn't matter where you were from, how rich you were, how wealthy your family was, what university you went to. If you were good, if you were smart, if you worked hard, this was a country of opportunity where you could get ahead. And that was why it was a beacon for, people all over the world to escape their corrupt and, elitist and authoritarian or aristocratic regimes and come to America where everyone had a fair go. But, the people in charge right now, particularly in the Biden administration and previously in the Obama administration, they talk about equity, which is communism, basically. It's the opposite of meritocracy. And DEI is just one venue, one avenue for them to infect all these institutions, particularly in the government, but, also in the private sector.
Dan tells me the Post has a story today about this amendment to the DOJ budget being pushed by Republican Bill Hagerty of Tennessee. It involves $11 million a year that's been siphoned off for real law enforcement going to Jack Smith.
Yes. Look, this is good on Senator Bill Hagerty from Tennessee. He's, unfortunately, the Democrats just kiboshed it, but he's hoping to push it for a vote so everyone's names are up in neon lights. And it's basically to stop Jack Smith, the Trump-hunting special counsel, who has a lavish spending budget. It's not enough that he's got his own money, but he's then purloining $11 million a year from the FBI and the U.S. Marshal Service.
Wow.
That was appropriated to them for real law enforcement, supposedly to catch crooks. But instead of that, Jack Smith's using it to pursue Donald Trump and this bogus attack that he's spearheading. So, look, at least the Republicans are trying to do something, and the way to do it in Congress with their little narrow power that they have in the House is through the money, through the funding.
Exactly.
They are getting their act together and sort of targeting that, and I think Bill Hagerty had a good go at it today.
Miranda, thank you so much. Thanks for always answering the call. Local cops refusing to share info with the FBI, crisis of confidence, DEI hires. In today's column, when do people find you in the Post?
So I'm in there definitely every Monday and every Thursday, but I'm also sprinkled throughout the week with as stories come up. I'll do that. And I'm on Twitter at Miranda Devine. And I've got a new book coming out in September, which is basically about the deep state cover-up of the Hunter Biden laptop and the Biden family's grift, and particularly the CIA protecting Joe Biden for many decades.
When we talk about the deep state, now what you're talking about maybe is a little different. The first thing I think of that slowed down Trump is not even malevolence on that CIA level, but it's the bureaucrats that are there forever that put hurdles in place. They may be ideologically bent, or they're just bureaucrats. And for Trump, they went all out to try to thwart just about anything. So what is we've had on the Project 25 now, 2025 is the boogeyman. What's the way to deal with that? I think the Project 2025 is methodical. I wouldn't have put it down on paper. I just would be having it somewhere and doing it. How do you break that?
Well, interestingly, you should say that because your cousin, Nicholas Giordano, has his own theories. He used to work for Department of Homeland Security back in 9/11 days, and he says you should cut the bureaucracy in half, and the average person wouldn't notice anything.
Yes.
Cut the FBI in half. You get rid of those top layers of people that are causing the problem, and you, in my view, you just eliminate DEI from every aspect of society. You make that, you probably have a DEI czar who's more effective than Kamala Harris, and you just make sure that everything's back onto a merit level. Get rid of the ideologues and the Marxists from the top, and have accountability. There has to be accountability built in to every agency.
We'll be looking for your book and have you back multiple times on that. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Great to talk to you.
Thanks. Miranda Devine here from the New York Post. That's one of our favorites. Hunter Biden, Part 2, Dan, the deep state. So when I say deep state, I see more, not even the schemers, CIA level and all. That's there too. It's just the everyday, at every level, the federal government. Ideologues, blocking stuff, slow walking stuff, just being forced. You get tired, you get worn down having to deal with them. Everybody, she said, if you got rid of half of these agencies. The education department, it's a layup. We don't need the education department. That's a state level thing. That's not Project 2025. That's common sense. All right, phone lines to get in are 855-839-1210. That's how you do it. But first, it is time for... Wow, we're on it.
I am not ready. Hold on.
All right, well, let me give it...
Money Melody.
Money con.
All right, today
How time
we're
flies.
playing for a great prize again, so be ready on the phone lines. A pair of tickets to see Chicago with Earth, Wind & Fire on July 31st, 2024 at Freedom Mortgage Pavilion in Camden, New Jersey. For tickets, visit Ticketmaster.com.
Dom, we're going to talk about another cover, this time of Chicago. We're going to do a Chicago cover.
All right.
And this is from the daughter of someone who is beloved by our audience. I say that very confidently, so take a listen. We're looking for the daughter of someone beloved by our audience covering Saturday in the Park.
Saturday in the park, I think it was the 4th of July. Saturday in the park, I think it was the 4th of July. People dancing, people laughing, a man selling ice cream and singing.
Oh, boy, these covers. I mean, that
bad.
does not do justice. It's like a Vegas type of thing.
I mean, she's pretty bad in general, her music.
Yeah, not good there. Just so trite. Who is that, though? She's going to get you headed off to see the real great Chicago and Earth, Wind & Fire at the Freedom Mortgage Pavilion, Camden, New Jersey. For tickets, visit Ticketmaster.com. Phone lines are 855-839-1210, AT&T, and Verizon Wireless. All that you have to do is just push pound 1210. Let's get a winner here with Dom.
In the park, I think it was the 4th of July.
Hi, it's Nick Kale. The first Wednesday of the month, we shine a spotlight on one outstanding local veteran on our Veteran Spotlight in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation, celebrating their remarkable commitment to community service and their exceptional service in the military. Wednesday, August 7th, we honor Air Force veteran Kathy Christian for her service and contributions to the veteran community. Presented by Window Nation. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com.
Crash-proof consumers, like Donna McMacken, know that the double-digit interest credited to their accounts is protected and available to access without penalty.
With Crash Proof Retirement, I know that my money is totally safe. I stand to gain and brought in 11%. That was interest credited to my account. And I have the opportunity with Crash Proof for that to continue to compound. Even with taking my required distributions, I could withdraw crash-proof income. There are no fees charged. Even though I've been retired a number of years and I'm not making a salary, I have my investments with crash-proof, and that's making me money while I enjoy my retirement.
Learn how double-digit interest returns can be permanently compounded to your principal with no risk of loss in a legally binding, recorded financial meeting. Schedule an appointment to begin your crash-proof retirement education. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
35% of crash deaths in Pennsylvania involve drivers under the influence. Drunk, high, buzzed, wasted. Whatever you are, don't become a statistic. Make a plan to get home safe. Designate a driver, ride share, or stay the night. Be safe, PA. Visit pendot.pa.gov/safety for more. Substance use disorder treatment is available. Call 1-800-662-HELP or find a treatment facility at treatmentatlas.org. Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Hi, everyone. Matt here from Emmons Roofing and Siding. There are a lot of companies out there that say they do roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Some good, some not so good. Be careful of those that say buy two, get two free. Does that really make sense? Think about it. At Emmons, we don't offer gimmicks, just quality products installed by our experienced craftsmen. We do offer 12 months, same as cash financing, though. That's not a gimmick. That's because we know how tough it is for some people right now to get these projects done. If you need roofing, siding, or windows and doors, call us for a free estimate today at 856-885-6677 or visit us at callemmons.com.
Look at you. Your life is under control. Errands? Done. Groceries? Got 'em. It's a good time to give yourself a reward. You know the one. Your favorite tasty cake treat. Is it the delicious crimpet or the mouthwatering candy cake? No matter where you are, choose what feels right and enjoy. You've earned it, and you know you deserve it. Tasty cake, accept no substitutes.
Summer is here, which means pool days, beach trips, and yeah, you guessed it, traffic jams. Oh, yeah, and heat waves. Don't let summer catch you by surprise. Get the local news you need, no matter what you're up to, with the free Odyssey app. And never miss a beat with alerts on breaking stories sent directly to your phone. Listen today on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
For the pulse of the city, even if it ain't pretty.
The Dom Giordano program.
On Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
It's Dom Money Melody.
Where has all the money gone? Show me the money.
That is right. Every day around this time of boy, great prizes this week. Earth, Wind, and Fire and Chicago were offering big concert, double billing. Let's hear the clue.
Oh, I went back too far. Sorry, everybody.
Saturday in the park. I think it was the 4th of July.
Boy, of all songs to be covering to, oh my goodness.
Is she the Bronny James of music?
That's a good, I don't know if listeners know Bronny James enough to make that decision, but yeah, possibly. Oh boy. Let's go to Marlena on Talk Radio 1210 here on the Dom Giordano in Havertown. Marlena, who is covering that song?
Chicago.
No, it's not. They're not covering their own song. It's who's covering it. Who's covering it? Steve in Downingtown. Who's covering it, Steve?
How about Nancy Sinatra?
How about those boots are made to walk all over you? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one song that was original.
It's not a young Wayne Newton either, you two. I apologize.
There you go. Oh, goodness. All right, so it is. That's the winner. Why did David McCormick's name pop up there all of a sudden? It's amazing how that system works. All right, Stephen Downingtown is the winner. Off the Sea, Chicago, and Earth, Wind, and Fire. We will have it again tomorrow, so be ready with that. All right, you heard Miranda Devine, though, and this is all coming to a head that we have arguably the first really major DEI candidate, and I think it fits. Republicans have to be careful how they go about this with Vice President Harris, because there are many policy things. You remember the Reverend Jeremiah Wright? Remember that when it got found out with President Obama? And here in Philadelphia, I was down there for that speech at the Constitution Center. He had to throw under the bus.
America's chickens!
There you go.
Are coming home to roost.
He had to throw under the bus all kinds of white people, too, to say they do it, too, in this speech that some found glittering. Because he got caught with the Reverend Jeremiah Wright as his pastor, if you will, and he was in attendance for what this nutbag did at various times. Well, Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, is a dues-paying member of a San Francisco church with a radical pro-reparations pastor, so much so that her pastor, Reverend Amos Brown, Third Baptist Church of San Francisco, recently bragged to Religion News Services about Harris's connection to the church, describing her as a dues-paying member. He is someone so high up that he was second in command on all that stuff going on in California with reparations, how much reparations shall be paid. Remember when Newsom put together that committee and they're working on their report and all that? Now, it's not, I don't have any things that he has said as of now, like the Reverend Jeremiah Wright, who finally got caught 5 days after 9/11 saying that America's chickens had come home to roost. Remember that? Meaning we deserved it.
America's chickens are coming home to roost.
He was a great speaker. Great. And he had a big Philadelphia connection. I think Mount Airy connection, something like that. That was President Obama dealing with this. Now, I'm not sure if Republicans have any, they should have by now, any sound of the Reverend Amos Brown talking about all these things, because I suspect, if not right after 9/11 like that, that this guy is saying things that most politicians would not want to have the anchor being identified with them. So we'll see. if they start running ads like that. We also talked about Willie Horton today with Vice President Harris and some of the things that she did as a prosecutor. Michael Watley, the head of the RNC, said, well, what about what she did as a U.S. Senator? Okay. And we haven't seen a lot of ads. Do I think Republicans got caught a little bit here? Yeah, I do. Not overwhelmingly. I think they were doing their due diligence on Harris. But let's face it, they were locked in. They were figuring Biden. He can't possibly win. Let's direct our efforts toward Biden with also trying to keep him in office at the same time. So maybe not enough effort on Harris, but there is still time, and we've had this for a few days now, and there is a good bit of catch-up that can be done based upon the fact that she was voted the most liberal senator beyond Sanders and beyond Elizabeth Warren. And people are trying to take that survey down now. All right, 855-839-1210. The wildest, Stan, and I'd love to see this because I think this guy is good in business, certain businesses. But other than that, he's kind of moronic. The latest pitch out there today, if she really wants to win, tag in Mark Cuban as the VP choice. Oh, my God. A guy that has Trump derangement syndrome of the most extreme nature.
I loved Mark Cuban for a long time.
Right.
Indiana alum,
right.
Frat guy from out there. I felt like we vibe similar. He actually has an office here in our building, I think, believe it or not.
He does?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so I've always had kind of a soft spot for him, always liked him on Shark Tank, but recently, Dom, ever since Elon Musk and the other billionaires have started endorsing Trump and trying to say, hey, other billionaires get on board, he's been openly critical of them supporting Trump and being political and all this, while with the same, fists also supporting Biden and telling how he'd, support whoever replaces Biden. Even if Biden died, he'd support Biden, stuff like that. So he's just incredibly political himself, and he seems to insert himself into every political debate, and he's really started to grate on me, and I hate to say I've started to turn on Mark Cuban.
Well, I think he's a savant, meaning he's not so good in almost anything, Dan, doesn't know what he's doing, but he has a talent in one particular area. I've
what is that though? I mean,
an idiot savant is sometimes.
No. I'm saying like what's his particular area?
That in the business world, particularly, he made a lot of his money with technology of various sorts. All right, if you Google it, you'll see that's where the core of it came through.
So I need all of us to really open up and talk to each other, even when it's difficult. Even when it's not something that we're comfortable with, particularly those of you who look like me, the white community. Because it's hard to discuss race when you're white.
All right. So, yeah, he is good on Shark Tank, even though I like the main Mr. Wonderful is hard to beat. But 855-839-1210. All right, hit us on the side question, too. Something that shows that we're almost already into the future. Politico's got a big piece up that's reasonable. I know it seems unreasonable. There are people, Dan, who still say...
I played the wrong clip of Cuban. I do have the one I have me now.
Okay, go ahead.
Kind of this White House roundtable discussion about healthcare costs. What did it entail? What was your message?
Well, the goal of the panel was to look at why healthcare, particularly pharmaceutical prices, are so high and the role of middlemen in pushing those prices up. And, as you already know, Morgan, there's 3 big PBM companies that really distort pricing for healthcare and pharmaceuticals.
Wow, I'm horrible. I'm looking for a clip. He says, quote, if they were having Biden's last week and it was him versus Trump and if he were being given his last rights, I would still vote for Joe Biden. I failed. I apologize to him.
Yeah, he does have a deep Trump derangement syndrome. All right, J.D. Vance now, under fire, some polling not good. Politico has a big piece up, and I find this interesting on a human level. I can never imagine growing a beard. I just,
do it.
I did do it once, and I could never go back and do that.
Right, just in honor of J.D. Vance.
There no pictures. And they say that historically, Politico now, facial hair reportedly looked unhygienic to people, but more recent research has shown that voters perceive facial hair as deeply masculine, which could come with both positive connotations, like competency, and negative ones like aggression and less support of feminist issues.
Do I look deeply masculine?
Yes, I
think
see
so?
it now. Well, let's say, ask people on YouTube and other
Yeah.
places, does Dan look deeply masculine? In addition to which, does he look like he has more aggression and doesn't support feminist issues?
Well,
yeah.
no, I support.
I'm trying to picture various people with beards or those with
So
beards.
what would I
without.
have to bargain with you for you to not shave through November? Like if we did like Dom's not going to shave until the election.
Oh God, I can't even.
Come on,
imagine.
I want to see how long it gets. You're Italian. You're an Italian guy.
Oh, a week. If I come back from the shore, that would
Look
be
like
it.
Brandon
Yeah.
Marsh.
I just have a dread. I check my shavers all the time going to the shore. I couldn't imagine. On the weekends, sometimes I don't shave for 2 days, and I can't wait to Sunday night to shave.
YouTube.com/@12WPHT. Look at my masculine face.
There. Is he
my
aggressive toward women? And
No.
Trump
No, never.
said he has a rugged everyman, a young Abraham Lincoln. So here's the thing, Dan. We get people all the time on Twitter and otherwise, and I think you agree with me on this. They think these things are all things that are superficial, like Josh Shapiro's height. And I'm telling you, I don't. Candidates, by and large, have been more attractive. You're not going to see guys like they used to be back in the day before we had. You're not going to see a Dwight D. Eisenhower usually. You know, how many really unattractive people have been in the upper rung of president or vice president recently? Most of them are relatively okay. Some of them are really attractive. They're fit. You're not going to see a Taft. You're not going to see a 300-pound guy as president. I don't think so. So these things all matter, and they have teams of people trying to help them. This is the first guy, if elected, in over 100 years, that would be a full beard. You just don't see it. Is that an advantage?
I get your points,
Yeah.
but I still want to see you with a beard.
Back to that again. All right, we'll work. Roe likes it too. So
No, seriously, like we got to have it happen.
Okay.
I'm not kidding. I'm
All right,
I'm
well,
pushing really hard right now.
Okay.
And Ro, if you're listening, I need you fully on board with this one.
All right, 855-839-1210.
Threaten to take away the new version of the Barca Lounger if he doesn't do it.
I haven't seen pictures, right? Have you, with J.D. Vance without a beard?
I think I remember the guy. He was back in 2016, wasn't he? Going
You
around
think he
doing
has the weak chin that you always talk about, or something like that?
I have a
That's
weak
why-
chin. That's why I have to do the
I know
beard.
you. I know you say that. Yeah,
Like my
I
chin
don't
just
see it.
runs into my
Yeah.
neck. Yeah, he does. Like, he has a very
Yeah.
weak chin.
Okay,
He has a
maybe
double
that's
chin.
maybe
He has the same thing I have, Dom. It's
maybe that's helpful.
It's like he has a skinny fat face.
But when you're looking at candidates, we all want to say, why would that matter? That doesn't matter and all that. Oh, come on now. It does. There is an edge to it. Now, Trump gets away with it, the comb over the hair, because he knows how to deprecate well. He uses it very effectively. But how is the hair an advantage? I don't know. I just think he's got the whole package of everything else, and people say, what the hell with the hair? You can't make it up. That hair is effective.
What, Trump's?
Yeah. The way he jokes about it works.
It makes him like a caricature, though. It gives him a
Yeah, it does.
look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
if
does.
he continues with the self-effacing humor, too.
Yeah, which is always good. All right, 855-839-1210. Hit us. Oh, I see one coming up that will tell us we're in the future, Dan. I see a potential winner right there on line 2. And I am dead set against this. So we'll get to all that. 855-839-1210. Hey, get ready for a gift from Rescue Natural Supplements. It's their Christmas in July sale. The season of giving is making a summer comeback with huge savings. That means on all health supplements will be slashed up to 50, 60, even 70% off site-wide. Treat yourself with savings on heart-healthy omega-3s, pain-relieving anti-inflammatories, natural immunity boosters, and a lot more. To order, call 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a rescue product consultant or shop online at res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Again, don't miss Rescue's Christmas in July sale. Shop savings of up to 70% off all natural solutions for your highs and lows, from high blood pressure or cholesterol to low energy or testosterone. Rescue has you covered. Hurry on over, unwrap the joy of a healthier you at res-q.com and do it today.
The clouds and humidity stick around across the Delaware Valley again today. There'll be some showers around mainly south of Philadelphia, high 86. Tonight becoming partly cloudy and less humid, low 67. And for Friday, very pleasant, mostly sunny with a high 86.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
How did your son or daughter do in school this year? These summer months is the time to make the call to Kathy Ganna and New Hope Academy in Yardley and Doylestown at 800-300-0003. Prepare your student for back to school now. Let New Hope Academy transform your child's life forever by helping them now. For over 3 decades, New Hope Academy founder Kathy Ganna, a pioneering educator and entrepreneur who created the NHA model, has been utilizing state-of-the-art solutions to uncover ways where your child could avoid struggling and succeed. At New Hope Academy, there's a student-teacher ratio of 2-to-1, allowing for students to deal with many disorders like high anxiety, social and emotional, and including bipolar. Do not wait. Help your students start strong. Remember, only the best teachers can work at NHA. Call for a no-obligation tour and consultation. 90% of NHA graduates pursue a college education. Call Kathy today at 800-300-0003. Online, newhopeacademy.net. Call New Hope Academy today.
There's nothing quite like local. Local is your weekly farmers market or homemade strawberry ice cream. It's live music on the corner, yoga in the park, and a chance to try something new. That's why AARP is local, right here in our community, offering free events and enriching experiences that can help with finances, family, and fun. Join AARP Philadelphia on July 25th for a virtual tour of the Renoir and Women exhibit at the Barnes Foundation. Learn more at aarp.org/local.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we are offering to qualified buyers a maximum discount of $13,176. This offer is good on all 2024 XC90s in stock. $13,176. Plus, the Cherry Hill Volvo 2024 model year sell down. Pricing and attention to detail here is not to be missed. Volvo should be on your shopping list now. This is the time to purchase from Cherry Hill Volvo.
Seems everyone has an opinion on where the stock market is going, but where should you be going? Find out with Joe Yakovich on The Heart of Your Money, Sundays at 9 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Weather sponsored by Wawa.
67 and partly cloudy overnight. Friday, partly cloudy with a high of 85. Saturday, up to 89, mostly sunny. Sunday, looking pretty much the same. Monday, sticking in the low 90s with partly cloudy conditions. And on Tuesday, we actually might see a thunderstorm.
Summertime's here, and it's Hoagie Fest. Get $5 shorties and $6 classics. Always built to order with meats, cheeses, and veggies you love. Get your favorite hot or cold hoagie or try something new. Only at Wawa Hoagie Fest.
Broadcasting live from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
All right, Dom Giordano show. So this pastor, Dan, more is surfacing about the pastor for maybe because of the attention for Kamala Harris. Apparently, DJ just sent me this story. There was an Asian rapper who owns a restaurant and grocery store about what's going on, crime in San Francisco. The mayor is African-American female, London breed, blamed her in the rap, which is now picking up views. And allegedly, and the newspaper chronicles some of this, Kamala Harris's pastor paid him a visit. And the argument is the intimidation was pretty bad. And the reverend, her pastor, ultimately withdrew his defense and said something like maybe things got out of hand, etc. I'm telling you, this guy's not the Reverend Jeremiah Wright per se, but you're seeing more attention paid to it. And with President Obama, Dan, that was such a major moment. I became friendly with the former VP candidate, the first woman, Geraldine Ferraro. Yeah, I visited her. Dan almost had her here for 7 fishes and all. She was ill then at that point because she resented his attacks. She was running against Hillary Clinton at that point, essentially on white people, throwing them under the bus because of the Reverend Jeremiah Wright. Imagine, Dom Giordano, Geraldine Ferraro. It was fascinating, sitting in her office there at the Chrysler Building around all this. It was wild. But watch for this pastor, Amos Brown, her pastor, that dues-paying member. That's what she says. And let's see what other things he's been involved in. But can you imagine some Asian guy they're allegedly threatening here? Big thing in San Francisco because the guy had the nerve to rap about the mayor and blame the mayor and her policies for all the nonsense that's going on. Just everyday life in San Francisco. So it's coming with Vice President Harris, the background, the stuff that she's involved in. There's a lot of radical circles here. Some of the things as senator that are still out there. The media is going to try. The main one right now, the easier one, is border czar. Dan, let's play that again one time before we go to the lightning round. Here is, it's like a ping pong thing. You're going to hear people, when this was announced, mainstream media, not conservatives, you're going to hear them make the case that what you're seeing here is the border czar. Everybody called her that. And then you're going to hear what they're saying now about border czar Harris.
Vice President Harris was not a border czar.
Meantime, Vice President and border czar Kamala Harris facing some backlash.
What he said about Harris and immigration was not true. She was never appointed border czar.
And this will be her first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border region since she was appointed as the border czar by President Biden.
People are going to have to counter the misinformation. You already hear folks talking about the border czar. She wasn't the border czar.
President Biden tapped Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, to be the border czar.
Now, she wasn't the border czar. That's what Republicans labeled her.
They were very critical of Kamala Harris, especially in her role as border czar.
Now what she's up against is folks lying about her border record, calling her a border czar.
Kamala Harris, who was appointed as the border czar.
The Biden team didn't declare her the border czar. They wanted her to work on kind of the root causes of immigration.
There has been so much criticism against Kamala Harris. You know, she was the border czar.
Calling her sort of the border czar, which wasn't necessarily the case.
So the border, if they weren't planning to address it in a major way, do not make her your border czar. She met with some of the Northern Triangle countries, but nothing has effectively changed.
All right, that's Kamala Harris. That's the situation. She was the border czar. There's no getting around it. It was more than just going to Guatemala and the roots of this, etc. She was put in charge of it because there was a lot of commentary at the time that she wouldn't want to do that because it was such a disaster. But she was also itching to say, I'm doing something as vice president. What's her portfolio? What is it as vice president that she was actually doing? You may remember that Mike Pence was kind of made COVID czar on getting the vaccine out and various things during COVID. Vice presidents want stuff like that usually, but the identity of being associated with the biggest emotional issue now is not good for her. So the media, it's one thing to show bias. To go back and start excising things that you wrote, hiding things from the American public. These people in the media know she was the border czar. And trying to erase that is not going to be effective. It's going to be seen as silly. And worse, the levels they're going to do it, you can't get away from this in the usual way of burying something. It's too prominent, too fixed. Republicans have to do a good job, though. First, at securing that. She is the border czar, and then what the result is. 855-839-1210. We're ready for the lightning round.
A nice compliment on Twitter from Carrie, Don.
Oh, yeah?
Hey, Dan, not usually a fan of facial hair, but I will say when it's very well groomed, it can look professional. People who grow it long and have a big scraggly beard look like unwashed mountain men, but yours looks good, Dan.
Oh, but Dan's not running for vice president. It is J.D. Vance. How does
it makes
his
him look relatable. It's fine.
You see it as relatable.
It's fine. Fun guy. Yeah, J.D. the fun guy.
I
he can let loose on the weekends.
Okay, well then he's
on
the cutting edge, because why for 100 years haven't we had a bearded guy? It just doesn't happen somewhere along the line.
Society progresses, you know?
Well, so you think it might be an advantage?
Yeah.
Okay, it does stand out. I could see Trump with him going, no. With Don Jr.
Should we start pushing that as like a positive J.D.
Yeah.
Vance, the first ever bearded vice president?
There you go. Can you see Trump in the room and Don Jr., who has a beard, is going, come on, this guy's great. It's a beard. I just can't. We'll have a chance to talk with Don Trump Jr., of course, on September 12th. Remember, get your tickets, 1210WPHT.com.
Abraham Lincoln had a beard.
We know that. But he was also not the best-looking or groomed individual, Dan.
Rutherford B. Hayes had a beard.
Yes, look at Rutherford B. Hayes. They had it back in those days. Yeah, they did it back in those days. Why don't we do it anymore? And the answer is there's something about it that people don't find appealing, I think, at least politically.
Who's the most recent one to have a beard? Let's see. Harry Truman.
Harry Truman didn't have a beard. Are you kidding me?
Supposedly he did.
No, the most recent, I can't
1948, Harry Truman beard.
Yeah?
Hold on, I got to see if there's pictures.
I don't think there's any Harry Truman beard, so.
He had a goatee in the fall of 48.
Harry Truman?
Yeah.
All right, so you got to save that picture. All right, I try to, before Truman.
There are no pictures of it.
Yeah.
There are no.
Dan, it's got to go back.
It's like Will Chamberlain's 100-point game.
I don't even know from 1900 on if there was anybody with a beard that's up there.
The mystic nature of Harry Truman's beard right there with Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game.
All right, I'll let you get that one.
No pictures of it, Dom.
855-839-1210. Get in. It's the lightning round.
Kale and Company weekday mornings 6 till 10.
The biggest question, which makes me wonder if in fact it was a coordinated inside job, as Chompy Blobber or whatever his name says.
Sloppy Chris Christie.
Sitting in his basement typing mean tweets. Shut up. As you guys know, I get a lot of emails and tweets, text messages from people saying, are there people controlling your narrative? Nobody controls our narrative here. Let me say that at 7:50 in the morning on Morning Drive when I know tons of people are tuning in. Nobody will ever control the narrative on this radio station except for the people that have talk shows here. Yeah. The end.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
There's only one place to get that perfect custom gift for your special someone. Cozy Jewelers' family-owned and operated showroom in Newtown Square. See their 5 C's in person. That's color, cut, clarity, carat, and of course, the Cozy touch. If you have something unique in mind, Cozy will help you customize your piece with all work done in-house, so you always walk away with that unparalleled Cozy quality. For your custom jewelry, stop by Cozy Jewelers in Newtown Square or online at cozyjewelers.com and step up to the 5th C.
Window Nation presents the 1210 WPHT Veteran Spotlight in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation. Listen the first Wednesday of every month as Kale and Company shines a spotlight on a local veteran, highlighting their remarkable commitment to the community and their exceptional service in the military. Presented by Window Nation. At Window Nation, there's nothing more important than giving back to the communities we serve. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
Slim down this summer with NJ Diet. You will lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days. That's faster and safer than weight loss injections. Lose those extra pounds the safe and natural way without any shots. Get started at njdiet.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Don't let them silence you. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
The time has come for the final test.
We usually call it the lightning round.
Yeah, that's right. Hit us now. Something makes you feel that you're in the future that's going on right now. Gary in Newtown. Gary, what's yours?
Hey, Dom, I got a suggestion because I have to shave my beard for my daughter's baby shower tomorrow. I was growing it for next Tuesday, but let's grow one right before September 12th so we can meet them backstage and show off our beards. How's that?
Oh, man, a beard for the Donald Trump Jr. thing. You know what? I'll go for a certain amount of hair for that. Maybe not a full beard.
Wait, you're actually going to do it?
Major beard.
Yes.
I'm talking about a week. That's what I got on right now.
Oh, man,
a week.
Yeah, nice little fluff. Yeah.
Okay, I'm in. I don't know, a week. I got to see how it's coming out. Okay. Now, is Don Trump Jr. going to think, what the hell's going on? All these people with beards. Yeah.
What would Joey Vento say if I walked up with my phone and I said, Google Translate? I don't know how to speak Spanish, but if I had Google Translate and said, there, I want to order that cheesesteak right there, pal. And it was
that's a pretty
from
good
English
one.
In Spanish and English.
He would accept that. Okay, that's fine. Pat's got a good one, Dan, in Lehigh Valley. Pat, what's yours?
Yeah, it's eliminating the umpires, behind the plate umpires for the baseball.
I hate that worse than I do the driverless car. I really do.
Really? Well, one can kill you.
Oh, yeah. No, I know, but I'd rather go than see the umpire ball four.
One's part of a game. One can kill you.
Can you see the ball's thrown 8, but there's a malfunction? Well, the umpire said it's ball 4. That's it. Let's go to Joe in Exton. Joe, good afternoon. What's yours?
Yes, hello, Dom. My phenomenon is the DeLorean car, which has doors which open vertically. The car was part of the film Back to the Future.
Yes.
And when the Back to the Future films went out of popularity, so did the car. Now, however, the DeLorean is about to make a reappearance with its unique characteristics.
Thank you, Joe. He's so on brand every day. Who coaches this guy?
He did pull it back together because I thought he was giving us a 45-year-old car.
Yeah, I was not going to go with it. It's coming back, Dan.
Yeah, now that it's coming back.
I don't know if I have a clear winner. Give me a couple of options.
Pet's microchipping, I think, is the best early on.
You like that one? Yeah, it was
he
very
gave some
good.
discussion about microchipping children and all, but I like the robot umpires, too. It seems that you do.
Yeah,
One of the robots at BJ's brought up the discussion about Marty.
And it's something robotic. I love the pet microchip, too. I wish I had 2 prizes, but let's go with the umpire.
Got it.
All right. Richie always shows
that
next.
Pat in Lehigh Valley goes into the hat.
For 4 big hours, Riley Gaines, we're trying to get on tomorrow. She says LeBron James should not be, tomorrow, the Olympic flag bearer. Because of all the stuff that happened George Floyd's summer, I'm leaning to that camp. Maybe not as strong as she is. Muhammad Ali lit the torch, and there were problems there. We'll have that tomorrow. Thanks to Dan and Jim for producing. Follow on Twitter at DomShow1210 and get your tickets, 1210 WPHT. Will we show up with beards? Maybe.
Yes.
Rich is next. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.